dang, what did we buy this week? Shit. Okay,
Yeah, for you?
let's kick this pig.
Yeah, man.
We got 3, piece of 2, and the number 1 to you and you and you. And
Boom.
what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Diamond Show, the 25th episode of PS
Mm-hmm.
Comics I Love You, the official pop culture podcast of all things comic books, video games, movies, and more. And we are smack dab in the middle of a little Star Wars series, as you probably saw on our social media accounts. The man somewhere around here, he's a hologram somewhere around here. There he is. He is the Darth Lord, the Dark
Mm-hmm.
King, the Sith Master. He
Yep.
is, you know what? You can learn a lot of things from him, but not from a Jedi. He is J.R. Cabacungan, aka Darth Cabacungan, aka
Ah.
at also not JR Comics 42 on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And I am his. I am. Well, I guess his Yoda, or I don't know, whatever. I'm his
I know.
Padawan learner. Who cares?
his,
The Jedi
his
Master.
opposite.
I am the opposite.
His
I am.
opposite.
I am the light.
The mirror. Yeah.
The Jedi Master. Kevin Pillow at Voice of Reason, at Voice of Reason 23 on all social media platforms. And today we're taking a break from the prequel trilogies, the main trilogy, and the sequel trilogies, and we're going into the little filler movies. We're going to do Solo, as you got there behind you. Solo, a Star Wars movie, one of 2 kind of break apart movies that were not in any kind of trilogy. They were part of the Skywalker saga, but they are not. So we asked that for at least for the foreseeable future. We will see how far into this movie we will make it. I'm going to start it early, so we've got a lot of stuff to get to. JR did a great job once again with our script and our rundown. He even told me before we started recording, like, hey, we got to get into this. We got a lot to get to. So with that said, if you're watching on DVD, Blu-ray, or on digital, get your little controller handy dandy and go to the main menu. And we're going to count it down right now. A 3, a 2, a 1. Play. We got the Lucasfilm Limited logo on the screen, and I'm going to make sure this doesn't blare out on me. A long time ago in a Galaxy Park, I actually forgot that Solo did this.
Yeah.
And then,
the crawl?
Yeah, it didn't do a crawl. It's a lawless time.
Yeah, it was like one of those weird ones. It wasn't. It was like just like it was. It felt very much. I think Rogue One did that too, actually, where it just had like the side things.
So for those who don't know, because there's things that we can't discuss yet because it happens later in the movie, we do know for a fact that this movie takes place definitely after episode 1, for sure. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
And based on what we've learned from Rebels and Clone Wars, this takes place after that. So one would have to assume that Solo takes place somewhere after episode 3. It takes place between the period between episode 3 and A New Hope. So, but
it's literally probably a couple of months before episode 3.
Yeah. And we do know that the events of next week's podcast, Rogue One, which technically was released before Solo, but takes place after Solo, takes place just moments. Well, it leads up to the moments before A New Hope. So anyways, let's get right into the quick news. the news and notes for here of episode 5. We still get you that information. And man, JR, we hit the ground running this past week. It
Mm-hmm.
was release week. Everybody all up on social media flexing their video game muscles.
Yep.
And we still, just like the election a couple of weeks ago, we still don't have a clear-cut winner in this race, other
Yeah,
than
not yet.
who's going to bitch the most about what's wrong with their system. We started off the week earlier before we get into JR's positive notes. We started off earlier in the week that some reviewers, some influencers on social media got some PlayStation 5s that had some glitches to them. I think it was a hard drive glitch
Yeah.
that was causing it. And if you caught it right away, it was a quick fix. A
Mm.
couple of reviewers basically had $500, well, they didn't pay for it, but they had basically big black and white $500 paperweights.
Mm.
I had to explain to a friend of mine at work what bricking meant, and there was a few bricks on the PlayStation 5. So not a positive note to start off last week
Yeah.
with video games. Then, of course, there was the infamous smoking Xboxes. But JR, you've gotten to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. We'll get our first bad word. Let's get down to the bottom of this bullshit with the
Yeah.
Xboxes.
So basically, with the Xbox, of course, they released the Tuesday of last week, and there has been some cases where there has been some cases where the disk drive isn't working, where like the disk you try to put in the Xbox, it would grind up and it would stay there until you push it in. That was a problem there. But
Hmm.
there's a specific one where your Xbox starts smoking, right? And there, it's been infamously seen online. There's videos of it already where a guy tagged on his Twitter like, oh, my Xbox is like has this big puff plume of smoke coming from the top of his Xbox fan, like, oh, saying that, oh, my Xbox is faulty or whatever, right? And so what happened is that it was revealed that people are vaping and then blowing smoke underneath their Xbox where there's a fan underneath your Xbox, right? If it's standing straight up, it sucks in air and goes straight through your machine and blows straight to the top because there's this huge circular fan that's just on the top of the machine before the actual coating. And yeah, Microsoft found that out. Saw there were a guy made a video about like how you can make that type of smoke go into it, and Xbox actually put out a tweet by saying, they said, I can't believe you had to say this, but don't put vape smoke in your Xbox. Don't blow vape
No,
smoke in your Xbox.
don't. Just
Like,
you're just asking for trouble.
that's just hilarious to me. It's funny to me. There have been some technical issues on the Xbox side, and we won't shy away from that. But the big one where it's like, oh, your Xbox it's smoking. That is no, that doesn't seem to be the case. The people just being it's this generation being this generation of vape smokers and trying to do all these crazy puff cloud stuff, and it just a lot of kid stuff basically, a
Yeah,
lot of idiot
basically, yeah.
yeah.
I
But
will
that
say
the
I will say
but
this real quick before I gotta put the closed captioning on so I don't get too much
mm,
so we don't get called on some stuff. I will say this: there's a couple of really neat videos on YouTube and Facebook. Guys dealing with there's a guy that bought a repair shop. I can't remember where it's at, and he specialized in doing laptops and video game systems. And he would do tear aparts of Xbox 360s, Xbox Ones, PS2, PS3s, PS4s. And the number one problem with video game systems is improper ventilation. It's always the case. You're cramming basically a supercomputer
yep,
into the encasing. Imagine taking a desktop computer and shove it into a laptop. I mean,
yeah,
there's a reason why, like JR and I both are recording on laptops right now, but we both would be love to be recording on some desktops, some nice iMacs or Power or whatever. But
mm,
we have the laptop, and they have laptop power. They have laptop storage, laptop memory. Really, the engineering behind video games is amazing with consoles. They jam packed PC, almost PC power. I know some PC gamers are going to say, like, dude, you can't compete with a PC. But they're basically taking PC power and shoving it into a laptop casing. And this guy would talk about the dirty, the people would just sit on the ground. They would shove it to the
yeah,
back of their video game or their entertainment center. And the two things that happen is it sucks in a lot of dirt, and then you get guys who smoke or vape indoors. And this guy would say like, oh dude, you can tell, like it's like almost like with comic book collecting. When a guy brings in a long box and it's like, oh yeah, I've been collecting comics for 60 years, dude, check this out. And before you even take the lid off a long box, like, dude, you're a smoker, aren't you? These books are useless because nothing gets away from cigarette smoke. And the same thing with video games. And so to memo to these guys who think it's funny, I'm gonna vape into my Xbox. I don't care if it's cigarettes or cigar. It's not cigarettes. It's not cigars. It's not marijuana or whatever. It's just a vape. You're still effing up your video game system. Knock
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid.
It's crazy how because of consoles and just I saw a tear down. I saw a tear down a while back of a guy tear down a PS4 because my PS4 had the PS4s generally had this horrible fan problem.
Yeah.
Right. Every time, especially in the later part of of last generation, with like games like Spider-Man or God of War, those games are just heavy games that just take a taxing toll on the system, and so the fan would constantly whir, right? And I actually had to break down my PS4 and you replace the fan. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And then just to see the inner workings of like what you're doing, right? I seen some horror story stuff too on people online, like them taking apart their console, like cockroaches in it and like
Yeah. I noticed that
like
too.
dirt and all this horrid crap. Like the stuff you put in your console, like like the stuff you put in your console is stuff you can't necessarily keep clean, right? Like it's the same thing. If you want to keep something in your room clean, you clean it. That's the basic thing. You don't do some dumbass thing like blow vape smoke in it. But hey,
It's so
uh,
fucking dumb.
especially when like you're dealing with like something that's almost half a grand. That's basically half a grand, $500, right?
Uh-huh.
That's $500. That's either your money or someone else's money. And so to try and just flippantly throw that away by possibly declining its life cycle to me it's like, come on, dude. That's money. That's straight up money. And on top of that, too, I know this is not part of the notes. I want to get into this PS5, right?
Yeah.
You seen some of the resale value stuff that's going on right now,
I didn't, but I can only imagine.
bro? Okay, so I sadly I couldn't get PS5. One, if I was gonna get PS5, I was most likely gonna resell it anyway. I was gonna resell it pretty high, but not the freaking amount that I saw.
Are they
These
doing
ones are
like $8,000 or something like that?
I think the highest I saw was 6.
Jeez.
6 grand off of bids off eBay. It's normally averaging anywhere between 1 to 2 grand right now for PS5s. The digital is going anywhere from between 8 to maybe I think 11. But the disc version are the one people want, and so those are just going super high. And not only that, man, but just the reselling, I can understand. If you have like 2 or 3, but like coming from resale, coming from someone who sells comic books, and coming from someone who collector of things and wants to resell, right? I've seen this is coming from uh the the kicks the shoe community, where a pair of Yeezys come out and people, they make these bot accounts or these bots that go onto websites, and the second that those shoes drop, your AI or your bot just instantly refreshes and tries to buy like as much as they can, right? Now the same thing is going on to like higher exclusive items, PS5s, Xboxes, some higher marquee items that we've seen now. And you have a lot of these guys that are just basically huge resellers. These guys would have like, I saw a guy have like 20 PS5s, sold 13 of them for $1,100.
Jeez. So he can afford to almost hold on to the other ones.
That's what I'm saying. It's insane because like it uh, it just tries to drive this market, this faux pas market of like having this high desired item, and then you're gonna catch a whale eventually.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen because PS5 supply is low because we're in a pandemic, and those parts be used somewhere else, but people have it and they're gonna pay $6,000 for it. It's insane, dude. I want eBay to do something
And
like
they
that.
and
But
they are.
I want them to just basically say, oh, this is a bot account, or someone that has 13 PS5s. When honestly, when like Walmart, Target, Best Buy are saying you only limit maybe 2,
Well, shoot,
maybe.
I think they would. There was brick and mortar stores even going to have Did they even have devices on hand on release day?
They did, but it wasn't you could only buy them online. That's the thing.
Yeah,
They
so
had it
you
in.
couldn't walk into a Best Buy and buy a PlayStation 5 or an
Mm-mm,
Xbox.
mm-mm.
Yeah,
No, no, no. And that's just crazy. It just sucks to me because like one, it's the first batch. Granted, I got lucky. My PS4 lasted the
yeah.
whole generation, the whole 7 years, right? But the PS5 already, I've
Has
been
it been
hearing
that
has some
long?
issues. Yeah, man, 7 years, bro.
7 years.
2013. So
Hey,
the
real quick,
go ahead.
I'm just gonna throw this in here to keep our
Yeah.
gotta keep a little fishing there. For those of you who are still listening, JR and I are on top of something right now. We're gonna keep you guys hooked by dropping little hints throughout this episode to tell you how you can win for
Mm,
free. Right? We'll take care of all the good stuff. We got some goodies we're going to show you at the end of the episode of how you can get for free. We've got 4 comic books for free
mm.
that can be yours. These are high grade. They're not like variants or anything, but these are sought after items from a couple of
Yep.
our really famous artists. They can be yours for
Yes.
absolutely free. All you got to do is stay tuned to the rest of this episode to find out how you can get
Yep.
it, and we will tell you at the end
Yeah.
of the episode. We'll drop little hints. Anyways, back to the story. We got to
Uh,
tease
Actually,
them.
to press us that, are we also shipping internationally or no?
You know what? Well, if you are
Working
the
on
winner,
that.
we will talk.
We will talk.
We will
Cool.
talk because you know what? We got to come up with something. But right now, let's just put it out there. It is U.S. only, but if it ends up being on the first come first serve, it ends up being one of our very gracious international listeners
Mm-hmm.
and or viewers. We'll talk. We'll come up with
Yeah.
something. And of
Yeah.
course, it's all brought to you in part by our good friends at Comic Asylum, and we will have a
Mm-hmm.
cool little logo here in a little bit. I gotta find it.
Yeah.
So back to the man wherever he is, this way
Yeah.
or that
Wherever
way.
I'm at.
Jr.
Yeah, but PS5s basically, I just there's some issue with the PS5 as well. There is a supposedly a downloading glitch where like your game downloads and just keeps on downloading and it doesn't really stop to 100 or it doesn't really get to 100. And there's other possible ones by the controller is being kind of messed up as well. So yeah, man, if you're a first adopter, like the initial adopters of like of any of these of anything, basically you're
Yeah,
gonna have the initial hiccups, right? Like is bound to happen. For me, I was always gonna get one. I would love to get one the first day, but then I had my mind thinking like I'll probably get one maybe sometime December, maybe hopefully in this month, maybe or probably most likely early January. That was my guess because one, more of it's out, it's easier to buy, and it's much cheaper. It's gonna be more basically the average price, right? Rather than
yeah.
you putting down, $1,000, right? But yeah, that's about it, guys. A bunch of games came out as well that week. Well, yeah, Xbox released on the 10th, PS4, PS5 released on the 12th, and a bunch of games released from then. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Black Ops Cold War, I think, released a couple of days afterwards. I'm pretty sure. Demon Souls, which is PS5 exclusive. Watchdog Legions, Need for Speed Remastered, and Miles Morales Spider-Man, which is a PS5 exclusive as well. And I will tell you, my friend, I have seen some gameplay of that in like legit in
Woo!
like 4K and like how everything plays. I cannot wait until I get my hands on that game, man. On the PS5, I cannot wait.
Oh, it's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't wait for to get my hands on Miles Morales. Now, I will not be playing the PlayStation 5 anytime soon.
Mm,
But I think the direction I am going to go is definitely going to be a PlayStation 5 over
mm,
the Xbox Series S or
yeah.
Series X. I'll
Mhm.
probably go with the digital download one. But again, oh wait, we're not ready. Wasn't ready for that the logo yet.
Oh, there you
um,
go. There's a look for coming to them. So
there we go. But
yeah.
nonetheless, I'll get it, but the Miles Morales is definitely going to be a purchase of mine. If I
Mm,
don't acquire it through the graciousness of friends or family for Christmas, then I think there will be
uh,
a early 2021
ah,
purchase.
yeah.
But yeah, grip of cool games came out. I'm really looking forward actually to playing the new Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. That looks really
Mm,
cool. It actually might get me back into playing a Call of
mm.
Duty game. I have kind of hit a rut with Avengers on the PlayStation, and
A lot of
haven't.
people have.
A lot of people have. It
Yeah.
is. I will say this: I like the game. There's a lot
Mm,
more positive than there is negative to this game, but the problem is the negative that is out. Like if you made a pie chart and said all the things that you liked about Avengers, it would totally outweigh the negative. The problem is that you still have 500 pounds of negative. Like it may be
Yeah.
only like 5% of the, but it's like it's the quality of the argument, of the quality of the negative that's kind of shining too much of a light on the negative. And unfortunately, I think it's just going to be a sunk
Yeah.
ship here pretty soon, and that's
Yeah.
before any really cool DLCs get released. It sounds like it possibly is going to go turn from. I that's the thing right off the bat. You even told on this podcast it was going to be like a $60 or $70 purchase. When I bought
Mm,
it at Costco on release week, it was already marked down to $50.
mm,
There's a possibility that
yeah.
that game's going to
Yeah.
become a free to play game very
Most likely.
quickly. So it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. There's a lot of
I,
promise there.
yeah. Here's the thing. Just my quick thoughts on that. Like, I think developer is definitely a big thing. And even don't get me wrong, man, I love Square Enix, man. They're the ones that develop Marvel Avengers. But necessarily, if the game is generally a Western audience type of game, I don't know how you can have an Eastern developer basically, try to make that game. It's just kind of weird to me. Where I would love, since Marvel already is kind of, I can't say in bed with Sony, but like if Marvel's already working with Sony, just give it to Insomniac. Granted, yeah, you're looking at exclusivity issues, because there's only gonna probably, if
It's a better
Insomniac
game.
does it, I know if Insomniac does it right, they're owned by Sony, and then they could probably that was most likely will only be on the Sony's platform.
Yeah.
But like, what other studio is doing a better, I guess, a better game, right? Other than maybe the Batman series, right? The Arkham Knight series.
Arkham Knights. Yeah.
Maybe those guys, the Warner Bros. That'd be great to have. But then again, it's Warner Bros. A
Exactly.
Marvel doing Warner Bros. You
That
can't
would
really do that.
no.
So it's
Speaking of
it's
which, Warner Brothers parent company AT&T, a lot of crap being talked about them this past week. So that company is in complete and utter disarray. That of course is the company that owns Warner Brothers, owns DC Comics, and we've talked about in the past that is a real troublesome ship. And news came out in the I think it was the Wall Street Journal this past week, said that AT&T is $150 million in debt and are looking, get this, are looking to dump CNN, one of the largest news outlets on the planet.
wow.
And the person looking to buy it, Jeff Bezos, the trillionaire. So we'll see what happens with that, but we also will see what happens with AT&T if they start selling off other commodities. They have talked. There was a rumor about this time last year when the deal was finalized that AT&T was going to purchase Warner Brothers with Time Warner. That what's going to happen to DC Comics, and there was a rumor that Disney might buy it, and that DC had been so watered down that it was. They're like, no, it couldn't be a monopoly. Disney could own Marvel and DC and not be a monopoly. So, but that's what they call a segue in podcast industry, because we got coming up next. Ryan Gunn making huge noise. James Gunn making huge noise this past week, announcing that Sylvester Stallone was a part of Suicide Squad. Now, of course, it confused a whole hell of fans because they're like, "Oh my gosh, why'd you add Sylvester Stallone? I thought the movie was already done." Spoiler alert to the fans out there: they hold on to shit like this for months so they don't spoil it, and so he lets them draw some attention to his Instagram account. Yeah, should be kind of cool. Now we do know that Sylvester Stallone's character in the Guardians of the Galaxy could be making his return in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, where he plays essentially the original leader of the Guardians from the original comic books, with his own little crew. But I'm curious. No mention of who Sly's character is in
No.
in the
Good.
in the Suicide Squad. I will say this: really cool story that came out of that Instagram post, because James Gunn is very good about interacting with his fans.
Yeah.
Someone asked him, why Peacemaker? Why did that get made into an HBO Max? Why is that being made into an HBO Max TV show? And he said it was simple like this: Warner Brothers came to him and said, "Hey, would you want to make a TV series based on your characters from Suicide Squad?" James Gunn, yes. Which one would you pick? dude, you could do a TV show on any of these characters. Okay, but if you had to pick, who would you pick? Oh, Peacemaker. I think it'd be a great story. Cool. Here's a bunch of money. Go right ahead. And he went, okay, done. So that's the
Mhm.
way the movie industry is working right now. Is, and I think Netflix kind of kicked it off. Was like,
Yeah,
oh, you got an idea? Okay, here's $1 million. Go make it.
which is good.
So,
Which is good to have because that means we have more content,
well,
and
yeah,
hopefully, if it's in the hands of like people like James Gunn, great. As I said, and of course, we don't. I'm thankful that we do not know who Arnold Sylvester Stallone's. There's a
dude,
Freudian slip from that.
you see, you just right there. But now all the internet's gonna go like, dude, Arnold Schwarzenegger's gonna be in
No,
Suicide Squad
no, 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 no,
because
no.
Jr.
They're
said so.
Yeah, they're also gonna probably roast me because I said Square Enix and not Crystal Dynamics for Marvel Avengers, even though I
Whoopsie.
know Crystal Dynamics is a Western studio, but they still aren't really their promise is full. But that's beside the fact. Okay,
Yeah.
their prominence is especially with Tomb Raider, but whatever. I'm glad that we don't know who the heck
Heck
Sylvester
yeah.
Stallone's playing because one dude like we live now in this information age where information is at the speed of your fingertips
Exactly.
basically, right? And it's hard to get spoiled, it's hard to be surprised nowadays, and that sucks, man. That takes the movie going experience out of your thing, especially when you have fans dedicated to like singing out, oh, who's this person, who's that person, who is this what. And like when people, I remember when James Gunn casted Chris Pratt, right? And people thought, oh, what, the guy from freaking Parks and Recs? No, it's Parks and Recs, or it was
Park and Rec. Yeah. Parks and
yeah,
Rec. Yeah.
Parks and Rec. The guy, he's big, he's too fat for the role. What the heck? Why? I remember when people said that, and then
Yep.
when Chris Pratt came out and he was Star Lord, they're like, all right, cool. I'm surprised now, but like that's the thing that like I don't like nowadays. The people, they're the surprise factor and just waiting to be to enjoy a movie without certain expectations. And this is gonna be a theme with me in this specific episode. Well, when you have expectation that because the plot or what happens, it just because of information age and just how everything's right at the snap of your fingertips, it just sucks. And I'm glad we don't know who Stallone is. I'm glad we don't. I'm hoping that James Gunn has more people in the film that we
Oh
don't know
yeah.
about. I'm hoping he just throws some crazy freaking curveballs like a Suicide Squad comic usually does.
Oh hell
Honestly,
yeah. And that's
yeah,
just James Gunn is the type of. I mean, there's still people talking about from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume One. There is a super secret Easter egg that nobody has yet to find out about,
it's good. It's
which
good.
is good. Like, and he's like, "Come on, tell us." And like, people have offered him millions of dollars to say what it is, and he won't take it. Speaking of Chris
Yeah.
Pratt, it was announced this
Hmm.
past week that Chris Pratt will have a bit part. Well, we don't know how bit of a part, but he will have a part in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Hmm.
Variety reported that Star Lord Chris Pratt will be teamed up with Thor, Jane Foster, Valkyrie, and whoever Christian Bale is played. That is another thing cool about Taika Waititi, who has become a director for the fans, much like the Russos were and Joss Whedon was originally. But even Joss Whedon
Hmm.
likes to pat himself on the back a couple of times, so he'll throw some
Yeah.
shit out there.
Hmm.
Um, but Taika, he's keeping a close lid on this one, um,
As he should be.
and it
Crazy
should be.
man he is.
I do know that back last spring, Vin Diesel, who of course does the voice and all the voices of Groot,
Hmm.
did an interview with comicbook.com that said that all of the Guardians of the Galaxy will be returning from Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, of course, the last we saw the Guardians and the former Thunder or the former Lord of Thunder was at the end of Endgame, where they took off in
Hmm.
the whatever, I can't remember which version of Star Lord ship
Yeah.
it is, but
Yeah.
the Asguardians of the Galaxy, which made a lot of us comic book collectors geek because that was a book that was going on
Yep.
at the time. And yeah, we there's a possibility we will get the Asgardians of the Galaxy at some
Yeah.
point during Thor: Love and Thunder, and possibly we have, because we've also heard this, that Thor will not only be appearing in his own movie, the fourth Thor movie, the only character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to get 4 movies. Thor
Hmm.
will also appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So a nice little
Hmm.
crossover between
Yeah.
those two films. Now, much like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that took place within 3 months of the first movie, so it kind of sandwiched out of
Mhm.
its continuity was they were back to back stories,
Yeah.
but they were released years apart. We do know that according to James Gunn, that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will take place after the events, obviously, of not only Endgame, but most likely at this point will take place after the events of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Hmm.
Now it has been hinted, but they've kind of retracted this too. That Jane Foster's, Natalie Portman, who plays Jane Foster, has kind of said, but she's since retracted that the main storyline from Jason Aaron's Thor books, where
Hmm.
Jane Foster, the reason she is deemed to be worthy, or she becomes the goddess of thunder, is because she is dying of cancer, and
Hmm.
she has such a pure heart, and that while she is Thor, she is
Hmm.
cured of cancer. Spoiler alert, for what we give you right now, from the comic book. That, but the problem was is that while she's the goddess of thunder, it extracts the chemotherapy from her body to make her pure. So when she goes back to Jane Foster, she's weak
Yeah,
and
she's
feeble.
worse.
She's
Yeah.
worse. So they have talked about adopting that storyline from Jason Aaron's run, which would
Mm.
be phenomenal. And I hope Jason gets a chance to work on this movie because
Yeah.
he is a phenomenal writer and a great creator. And I'm
Yeah.
still bummed I didn't get to meet him at freaking on Ontario.
For those who don't know, initial production is set to begin in January, and it will most likely be taking place in Australia because it's Taika Waititi, and it's Australia because Australia is a beautiful place. That's where they filmed Thor 3, and the film is set to release in February 2022. And just to kind of retract and try to kind of backtrack, the James Gunn film Suicide Squad is going to release in August 6th of
Oh yeah.
2021, guys. And also in more news. You heard that? I heard, or I've read that Amber Heard is says that she will be returning to Aquaman 2 despite online petitions that has garnered over 2 million signatures. In her interview with Entertainment Weekly, uh, that she conveys their involvement and excitement of the aforementioned film, stating that I'm super excited about the amount of fan love and the amount of fan appreciation that Aquaman has acquired, and that it has garnered with much excitement for Aquaman and Mera, and that means that we'll be coming back as Heard tells EW. I'm so excited that I'm so excited to film that. She continues. Paid rumors and paid campaigns on social medias don't dictate casting decisions because they have no basis in reality. Only the fans actually made Aquaman and Aquaman 2 happen. I'm excited to get that started next year.
I
How do
still
you feel
can't
about
believe she is.
that?
I just still can't believe that she's still involved with this. By the way, the part of the movie that we are in for Solo, we have now Woody Harrelson's Beckett
Mm,
and Thandi Newton, who, by the way, completely and utterly underrated actress. I love her
yeah,
and almost everything that she
yeah.
does, including, despite where you stand politically, her portrayal as former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice in
Mm,
Oliver Stone's W back in the day. She was great in that. Um, but she's also the one that's constantly being she's compared to Zoe Saldana. But
mm.
we have Alden Ehrenreich. How do you say his name? The guy that plays Solo, plays Han.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Alden.
forgot. Yeah,
Anyways,
Alden Ehrenreich.
and then of course
Yeah.
either with Chewbacca, who is voiced by Jonas Suetamo, who I
Mm,
believe is the guy who took over for Peter Mayhew. So he's not only the yeah, he is the actor in the suit, and he's also, I think he's contributed some of the voice, but I know that's all
yeah,
done by Skywalker Sound. Anyways, they're at one of the first heists that
ah,
this little crew does.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, technically the only heist.
yeah,
So
but I know
technically
I
the only
just
heist.
yeah the one thing I noticed about this movie before I can take a quick break is it is CGI heavy, but you can tell that how much the CGI has changed,
Yeah,
and they didn't rely heavily on it like the prequels did with. But then again, the CGI at the time was really
yeah, really bad.
crappy compared to today. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty decent. So
yeah. Well, yeah, of course, it's Disney money, so of course. But anyways, onwards, back to Amber Heard.
I'm sorry, I had to get
Yeah,
that taste out of my mouth.
yeah. But anyways, back to her. Yeah, the comments. come obviously after Johnny lost his civil suit, and he was of course his libel suit, and of course ultimately resigned or forced out, however you look at it,
Yeah.
forced out from his role as Grimwald from the Fantastic Beasts. He got paid though, so
Yeah. He
that's
got
one thing that
paid.
he got paid. That dude got paid. He's fine. And that being said, the EW Entertainment Weekly did note that Aquaman 2 is not yet officially greenlit by the studio. Its cast is not confirmed and it does not have an announced start date, and the pandemic production dates are more uncertain than ever. So granted, even though Amber Heard has said that that she can't wait for the movie to start, there has been no official cast been said anything. So hopefully, uh I hopefully, maybe not, maybe there we will have some acceptance or some acknowledge of the petition of fan support of Johnny Depp, of wanting to have Amber Heard not basically be Mara, right?
Yeah.
Of not not having him play Mara. And actually, uh I've seen some choices to recast Mara, and I actually kind of like him, man. And I know we said it before, dude, but Amelia Clark, who's in this movie, who's in Hope Solo movie, I
She's
like her.
fantastic in this movie.
Yeah,
She is
she's really
so
good.
good.
She's really good. That surprised me. So yeah, I would love to see Amelia Clark be in more movies. I would love her to
Heck
play
yeah.
Mara. She looks like a great Mara. Granted, she's still pretty short for a Mara, but at the same time, they movies have made more with less. Granted, I'm not saying Amelia Clark is less by any stretch of the imagination. She's way more than Amber Heard, right? And I would just love both both Jason Momoa and Amelia Clark again, just being on stage, being on screen together again.
Oh,
It's, to
the
me,
chemistry that they have is
it's amazing.
it's amazing.
It's to me, it's like the Savage King and the Dragon Queen all over again from Game of Thrones. So that
It
was
should
cool.
yeah, it should be noted too. This past week, Amber Heard's news name not only in the news because of what's going on with Warner Brothers Aquaman 2. And for those of you who know, uh, like, oh my gosh, well, what are you saying? I thought there was going to be an Aquaman 2. How these contracts work with guys
Yeah.
like Jason Momoa and an Amber Heard, who are the two main characters from Aquaman 1,
Mhm.
is that when they sign up, they're like, hey, congratulations, Jason. We're going to cast you to be Arthur Curry. We're going to cast you to play Aquaman. Guess what? You're signed up for 7 movies. And same thing with Amber Heard. And that's why they appeared
Yeah.
in Justice League. They appeared, obviously, in Aquaman, in other movies. And I know that technically, I think that Aquaman, the character was supposed to appear in Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, but the
Mm.
part was reduced and then eventually cut out of the movie.
Mm.
But the I know he had like a little bit, like I think they showed like
Yeah.
a 13-second video or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Where he's underwater and
He's
stuff, right? With
underwater
the
and
with
takes off.
the
So these guys are created are signed to contracts for long-term deals,
yeah.
and when a movie is successful like Aquaman was, they're going to automatically invoke a sequel clause in the contract. So that way,
Mhm.
even though it's not officially been said, it's out there. I mean,
Yeah.
contracts have been written, stuff like that. Should
It's
also be
gonna
noted
happen.
this past week that Amber Heard's name came out in the news. It wasn't any more positive than this. Amber Heard, who originally did not know this, Amber Heard was actually up for the Carol Danvers role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She was supposed to play Captain Marvel, but chose to play Mara instead
Mm.
in the DCEU. Of course, the role ended up going to
Brie
Brie
Larson.
Larson, who at the time, when it was announced at Comic Con a few years back, I thought it was a pretty positive role, selection. It's since been mixed reviews. It has been talked about this past week that Kevin Feige has taken a meeting with Amber Heard. I cannot believe that Disney is allowing one of their biggest executives to take a meeting with such a controversial actress, and said that Amber Heard will most likely be headed towards the Marvel Cinematic Universe at some point in the near
Mm.
future. There is a possibility, albeit a small possibility, that they will recast Carol Danvers with Amber Heard, but I think that's a stretch of a rumor. But it is said that Kevin Feige is meeting with Amber Heard, or met with her this past week, and talks about bringing her into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, possibly also playing the Invisible Woman, Mrs. Fantastic, or Sue Reed.
So
So,
read, yeah.
I
It would
hope
be
not.
hilarious.
God, I hope
It
not.
would it would be hilarious to me to then, one, I'm not gonna say that I hate Brie Larson's interpretation of Captain Marvel, but it would be ironic to me then to have the figurehead right now, right? Because it's been for a very long time, Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman were the figureheads of the woman movement,
Yeah,
right? Artistically, right?
yeah. No, you're right.
They were there, right? Because strong women, as well as Ray. Ray was definitely in there as well.
Yeah,
But to have this switch up of actors from Brie Larson, which honestly, great actress. Don't get me wrong. Other than the side of her portrayal of Captain Marvel in the Marvel universe has been really good. Aside from her being Captain Marvel, her other portrayals in other movies is great.
yeah,
Really, really freaking good. But to have them switch up her with Amber Heard
yeah. No, I
in a
especially and to see
mm,
what Brie Larson has forced Disney and Marvel to do. They weren't going to have the black and yellow costume. She was not going to quote wear the bikini costume, or the bathing suit costume. Um, she is she they said that she was the one that pushed for the quote A Force scene in Endgame. She's the big push for getting an A Force movie that most likely will happen either in sometime in phase 5 or something like that. So she's done so much for the quote movie side of the Me Too movement, that it would be a disgrace for Amber Heard
yeah.
to be attached to a character like that. And really and truly, there is not a single female character in the Marvel universe that Amber Heard could portray. Even a
That's not an
villain,
abuser. That's not
even a
an abuser.
even a villain. I mean, could you possibly pick? You could have her play. You know what? What's it called? The Viper lady. Lady. What was the mutant that was
No,
in?
hell no. Hell, Lady Shiva?
Well, I don't know. It's
No, no, no.
Lady.
Lady
Lady
that's
Deathstrike.
hell no. One Lady Deathstrike's Asian.
That's true.
So
I'm sorry. You're right. Can't do that.
big no.
No,
Right?
no, no.
I
That'd be a
don't want
big old bad no, no.
another freaking whitewash character. All right, cool. And then not only that, but actually give the actually plays is a alleged abuser. Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good.
I mean, she
But
really and truly, she could only play a villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But eh,
yeah, I
I
mean,
will see.
yeah,
Um,
just having her name, especially right now, associated with the Marvel brand, right? It doesn't look good. Granted, yeah, okay, there's gonna be people saying that. Well, what about James Gunn? That was 8 years ago. 10? No, that was even more. Like that was way more than. Of course, I understand. The progression of his character has changed since then. Amber Heard hasn't.
yeah.
That's the big difference here. She's still in that I don't care mode. And so, no, man, I don't want Amber Heard to associate with it, dude. I don't want Amber Heard to associate with any Marvel
No,
characters.
no.
Hell no, dude.
I do not want Amber Heard in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because they'll just. Well, that's the other one too. Is this is my, because I knew we are gonna get to your rant of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Here in a second. Here's my rant of the week.
Yeah.
Marvel, take this time. You have not had a property come. You actually you come out and said that you didn't have a single property come out in 2020, which is bullshit. You had Agents of Shield come out. Own it already. Let it be known. I get it. Feige, I get it. You didn't get along with the head of Marvel Entertainment. You didn't get along with what's his name, the guy that ran Marvel TV.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Agents of Shield was good. They did some great casting. They got some great characters in there. And every single time I read online about a character like Quake, a character like Mockingbird, characters like Ghost Rider, um, uh, just numerous different characters. The Netflix characters, the Defenders, all talking about being recasted or at least being rebooted. Not, no, but the one character I will say that they keep talking about, and this is another one that Amber Heard's name has been attached to, was Mockingbird. Was I can't think of her main name, Bobby Morse, and I loved Adrian Palicki. I can't think of her name, but she was well played in Agents of Shield. And yeah, they want to retcon um, everything that was done in Agents of Shield and go with a reboot. Same thing with the Netflix characters. They do want Charlie Cox. They do want Kristen Ritter. They do want the guy who played God, I can Michael. I can think of his name that played
Yeah,
Luke Cage. They
yeah.
even are thinking about bringing back the guy who played Danny Rand. And they
Hmm.
definitely want John Bernthal. They want John Bernthal
John
back
Bernthal,
bad.
freaking John Bernthal. Yeah, of
And
course.
the same thing with the guy who played Robbie Reyes was
Hmm.
fantastic as Robbie Reyes, but they want Chloe Bennett to come back as Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, but they want to
Hmm.
reboot. I'm like, no, don't, and please don't take a character that is badass like Bobby Morris, aka Mockingbird, and give it to Amber Heard. Please go back and get Adrian to do it again, and please, for the love of God, canonize Agents of Shield. For goodness sake, I'm so pissed that just got Daniels out there.
Here's a great way to segue from your rant to my rant of an established franchise or an established medium or IP be what's the word we're looking for, be adapted elsewhere or redone.
Uh-oh.
So my rant of the week goes out to the creators of the failed Netflix movie Death Note, because they were in an interview. They had an interview with comicbook.com where they were asked, what happened to the failings of why did Death Note, the movie from America, differ so much from its original adaptations, the live action Japanese adaptations, or the manga or the anime. So they said a quote. The quote reads, there was a Japanese film. There was the anime. So that story has been sold. So that's why the director said, hey, we've seen this story. Let's try something different. But again, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes
Yeah.
you give people something they want, sometimes they don't. Here's the thing. Death Note came out in 2005, 2006, sometime in the last early 2000s or so. No one has seen that damn IP. The only people that have seen that damn IP are nerds like me that grew up on it.
Only you, JR.
People like me who watched the first three, who watched the three Japanese iterations, all featuring L, right? L, who's basically the main protagonist of the film,
Yeah.
of the films, and beautifully played by the actor's name just escapes me at the moment. I should have wrote his name down. He's an awesome actor. And nerds like me have seen that. But when you say, so that story has been told, who the fuck told it? The Japanese told it in
Yeah.
Japan. Who the fuck heard it in America? Obviously not y'all. So okay, so here's the thing I have with this perceived idea of cultural appropriation. Granted, I will probably sound hypocritical because of how people saw my view of Ghost the Shell, right?
Yeah.
Done by Scarlett Johansson. Granted, those my opinions and thoughts for those. You can see that in a previous
Recent
podcast.
episode.
I do recommend that. Go watch my thoughts on that. But here's the friggin' thing: Ghost in the Shell was an honest adaptation of Ghost
Yeah.
of the Japanese film. This one was fucking not. Why? Because one, your main character looked like Dylan Sprouse or Dylan Roof or whatever fucking mass homicide shooter that would probably shoot up a high school. That's your first fucking problem, right? Granted, the actor who played him, great guy. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. He's a great actor. I loved him playing the blind friend, or he becomes blind in the Fault in Our Stars, and he had other movies too. He's a great actor. Don't get me wrong about that. But when you have this edgy teen role of just having this guy that's in either, I honestly, I fucking blazed through that fucking movie in high school, and and he's supposed to be this edgy, like, oh, dark Death Lord, like no, dude, no. Light Yagami was not that. Light Yagami was the smartest freaking kid, the smartest freaking kid in college. One, he was manipulative. He was very, he had a god complex. He very much was conniving. He very much was very intellectual too.
Yeah,
Two, your portrayal of L. Granted, yes, they try to make him brownie points because they casted a black guy to play him. His name escapes me right now too. But the portrayal of L is horrid. I don't mind if any other character, if any other actor of any other race plays L, as long as they play him correctly. The only L's mannerisms was not there, other than him probably sitting on a chair in front of light, in front of their depiction of Light Yagami in a certain scene, right? Him sitting on that chair, that was probably the only depiction of L I saw. No, L is a fucking genius. Genius mastermind. You know how genius mastermind is? Have you heard of Death Note?
I've heard of it just kind of in passing.
Okay, just pass
And
it.
it's kind of like what you've talked about, because I know you've mentioned it before. So
Let me just give you a scene how intellectual L is, right? L Lollet. So just to give you a small synopsis story, this Light Yagami finds this death note, which is basically this little small notebook that was been used by death god Shinigami in the film, where like these huge, demonic looking angel wing type of creatures, right? That are
yeah,
death gods that brings the dead to wherever they want to go, right? They all have these notes where if they write your name on it, you're dead. If you write how you die, that's how you die. If you just write your name on it, you're dead via heart attack, right?
yeah,
Light finds this notebook because his Shinigami Ryuk, right, his Death Note Ryuk was just kind of bored with life and like, hey, let me give you this Death Note real quick, see what this kid does. Light Yagami kills nearly all the evil people in the world. He has a god complex and kills
oh,
nearly
those always go well.
every single evil person that he views: mafia bosses, corrupt politicians, corrupt social leaders, corrupt like popes and all that stuff, right? With it, not just within Japan, but all around the world. So what does L Lollet do? This is what he does. He conveys this message, right? He goes out to the public and say, hey, we're gonna find this guy. We're gonna find this guy. We're gonna bring him to justice, and we're going to stop the world of Kira, right? Because that's his
Yeah,
serial killer name. We're gonna stop the world of Kira. Well, they put his name out there. My name is this, whatever, right? So, uh, Light, like, oh, this guy's a freaking dumbass. I'm just write your name here. Then writes his name. This L supposedly dies on camera in front of everybody live, right? Right? And so Light's like, oh, I showed you, like, what the hell, dude? You're supposed to, try to find me. I just killed you here. So the video cuts out, and the video then goes up this interpretation of just the letter L, right?
yeah.
And goes, okay, then that wasn't the real that wasn't the real L. I am now. I'm It's a voice recorder. It's a voice distortion and everything. So we now know that Kira is in Japan. Why? Because this video is only set in certain parts of the world. This person is Japanese. So now I can find out that Kira is in Japan. One, I know the time frame when he kills. He must be a college student. Two, it's in this certain part because only this video of this person is here in this side of Japan. So now we know exactly where he is operating. That was in the first 30 minutes. The
This is
the version of the version of L that I saw was not that.
this movie center. Or was this was the 'cause I'm looking up on IMDb.
Yeah.
There was a movie and there was a TV show. Correct.
Uh the anime is a TV show.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
anime
Yeah.
show. And there was 3 Japanese movies,
Yeah.
right?
I saw that. You could tell that off.
And there
You
was
know.
yeah. And there was the Netflix show, right? And that was it. Light L is way more intelligent than people than he was given credit in any iteration, and it very much felt like this whole thing of like, oh, we see your story, we'll take some parts, but I'm gonna add my story, even though people have paid me, studio have paid me to do that, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
When you make your dude look like some your stereotypical mass murderer. I'm pretty sure that's what the look they were going for, maybe. But like that, it was what 2018 or so. That was like, no, dude, you don't want to make your guy look like Dylan Roof or James Holmes. Those are
Yeah.
negative connotations. And Light Yagami is supposed to be this conniving, convincing, very charismatic, highly intelligent human being that's supposed to look like just a regular college student.
Yeah,
That
this
didn't
one,
happen.
this doesn't even come close to looking like anything. This was from 2017 on Netflix, and it is very poorly rated. Um, so
Yeah,
I guess
obviously.
that's it's a good thing. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so we can know, we always know when JR is going to be animated. When he specifically puts on the script, rant of the week. Usually he throws it at the end, but he's like, brother, we need to pause here and need to get after this. So
Okay. So yeah, but that's it, guys. And what part are you on right now? What part of the
right
movie are you on
now
right now?
we just got done with the meeting with uh um
What's his name?
Paul Bettany, which
Yeah, yeah.
is Dryden
I have my
Voss
notes. Yeah, Jordan Voss. Yeah.
and
Okay. Oh,
Emil Clark and Kira.
yeah, we'll work up from there. Then we'll work up from the very start to there to that point. Then.
Oh, and perfect timing because look who just popped on the screen. Probably one of the best casted characters in the Star Wars universe. The guy who is a bigger nerd than you and I combined times 10, and that is the one, the only Donald Glover, who plays
Mm-hmm.
Lando Calrissian, who for the longest
Mm,
time was the only man of color in the galaxy far, far away. And we know that has
true.
since changed a couple times
Greatly.
over, but
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
so
But
real
yeah.
let's lay the land here. Tell you a little bit
Uh-huh.
um about what Star Wars a Star Wars story is all about. It released on May 25th, 2018. Runtime about
Yep.
2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's a quick 2:15. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really do that. It was directed by Ron Howard. Of course, Ron Howard took over for the original director, who I think was fired, I believe, halfway through the filming, and Ron Howard took
Yeah.
over.
It happens.
The description on this one: during an adventure into the criminal underworld, Han Solo meets his future co-pilot Chewbacca and encounters Lando Calrissian years before
Mm-hmm.
joining the rebellion. Of course, part of this movie has the galaxy's greatest smuggler actually fighting for the Empire
Mm-hmm.
alongside, and that's where he meets some of his cohorts in crime, including Woody Harrelson's Beckett, great character by
Mm-hmm.
the way. Also
Mm-hmm.
meets Thandie Newton's Val, which by this point in the movie, Val has sacrificed herself in that
Spoilers.
heist. Spoiler alert: has sacrificed herself in this heist. But now they've just met Amelia Clark's Kira
Yeah.
again. Well, obviously Han and Kira knew each other, but they've also met Paul Bettany, who is Dryden Voss, who at the time when I first looked at it and said, "Are they trying to make him Darth Vader or something?" I mean, it was very Darth Vader esque, the outfit and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Him, especially when his introduction of him, freaking stabbing a senator or whatever,
yeah,
a mayor. Like that's the first scene. Like that was crazy. But
yeah.
yeah, just for good. Wait, wait.
I was say it definitely did get right off to a hot start.
Yeah,
It was not a cold opening. It was a hot opening. So
yeah. So okay, so Formal starts now because we'll try to make our way from there. How do you feel about just how it started, the movie?
I I think because I'm gonna have to watch this yet again. This is only the second time that I've seen this movie. The
Mm.
first time I went in with such trepidation because it had such a bad taste
Association to
association.
everything else.
And for those of you who are listening and are going to do this watch along style with us, is if you've never given this a fair shake, please do go
Mhm.
in with an open mind. Okay,
Hmm.
that's why we're watching these movies in order. Is because
Yeah.
had we watched these movies based on release date, we would have watched The Last Jedi before this, and you would have hated it because you would have just given up. Like, fuck this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going home. We're done with Star
Hmm.
Wars. Whatever. That's one of the reasons why I chose to do it this way. I also chose not to go all the way to the end and then
Mm.
come back and do Solo and Rogue One, was because it was going to have a bad taste in our mouth. And that's
Yeah.
what happened. And people, I guarantee you, if you look at the Metascore on IMDb, or even the Rotten Tomatoes and any other online review, this one has I'm going to call it a 7. It's 7 out of 10. That ain't
Yeah.
bad. A
Mhm.
70%'s a B. That's gonna
Yeah.
get that's maybe a C, but it's a
Mhm.
passing grade.
Yeah.
I bet you that score has gone up since its release. It was bad placement. It didn't
Yeah.
have a very long run in the theater. It does tell a fun,
Yeah.
interesting story.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to hate on Alden, he does a decent job. He doesn't look like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
That's my problem. So, anyways, well, you're going back to what you're going to say. Sorry.
Yeah. So actually, just kind of to piggyback off what you said, yeah, I went into this film with just huge trepidation, just not wanting to watch this film at all, right? Because of just the sour taste mouth through because of Last Jedi, right? And for you guys, I sucked it up, watched the movie, and the first 15 minutes, I did my best to hate the movie.
Yeah, kind of want to.
And then I saw Ron Howard's magic by making a movie good.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed it, and this is what I feel about it. To me, that just overall my overall feelings of this movie, right, is just that it felt more Star Wars than the freaking new trilogy has. It felt way more of a Star Wars flick in the sense of regards of like just having that, down your luck, but possibly having this hope inside and wanting to do good, wanting to do just and right, and all that stuff. The usual feelings I would have from the original trilogies, right? And overall, I gave it a shot and I enjoyed it. I actually enjoy the movie. Granted, but also in former starts, just I'm going kind of just line by line what happened, right? The, there are some kind of hiccups. Don't get me wrong. This is not a perfect movie at all,
No.
but there are definitely some hiccups. I do feel that because of it's stuck. The Han to me now, right? It's stuck between two worlds. One, the hardcore fans of Star Wars, you and I, people who've watched all these movies, been watching the movie, right?
Yeah.
The hardcore fans of Star Wars that was pissed off because of Last Jedi, and it's stuck between the fans that love the new Star Wars and love Jedi and hated that Han Solo wasn't like that. What they hated that Solo wasn't like Last Jedi. I
Yeah.
feel it's I feel it's somewhere stuck between that, right? And that's why it wasn't given a shot by the hardcore fans because our childhood is a bitch, and nothing's gonna beat our childhood, and that's not Han Solo. His square jaw or his jawline is nothing like Harrison. He tries his best to be Harrison Ford. He does little clips, and when you fight against that, you're always gonna lose.
Yeah.
This guy is a passable Han Solo.
Yes. Yeah.
I enjoyed his Han Solo. He made the movie enjoyable to me. For me, honestly, he did better role than I'm probably gonna find on this than Donald Glover. Because to me, Donald Glover did his best to tried to do his best to resemble Lando Calrissian.
He was
No,
doing
no,
his
no.
best. He's doing his best Billy D. Williams cosplay.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
he was doing his best Billy D. Williams. I can hear it in the cadence, I can hear it in the voice, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. Donald Glover is an amazing actor.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen Donald Glover act and be as charismatic. I saw some of those scenes in there, but it felt like he was always stuck to trying to be Danny D. That was for me. For me, I went to this movie thinking like, all right, cool. I want to see a new movie. I want to see a decent. I want to like this movie basically, and I enjoyed it. I
I
thoroughly
enjoyed it
enjoyed it.
too.
I
And I
thoroughly enjoyed it.
and I think that I'm part of that group that it's everything about this. It's down and dirty. It's gritty. It's
Yeah,
the lighting on it is very well done, and
yeah.
I just think people. This is one of those movies that you need to, and this part of the movie, which I liked and didn't like, because this
Mm,
is where it creates controversy. This is the first
mm,
time that Han Solo sees the Millennium Falcon.
mm,
Now, this is going to create. This is where the controversy begins on the movie. Is that if you look at the Millennium Falcon that we've seen for so many years, and I'll bring it up,
yeah.
it's the look of it. There is a subtle
Mm,
difference to the Millennium Falcon.
mm.
Let me see if I can find it here. And of course, right there,
Oh,
you just have,
but
go ahead, JR. Why are you
yeah, but
finding this?
when as he finds it, just introductions for most of the characters that are in the film is actually really well done.
Yes.
Although the only one that to me, honestly, that felt so out of place was literally the beginning of Kira's. Like she literally just grabs Han into some side room, and the pacing and like you see just the camera focused on Han, and you have and you see Kira's back, her back in like side view, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a full camera shot on her, which we had for every other character in the film. And so to me, that was like really out of place. Like, okay, that's weird. That's a weird way to introduce Emilia freaking Clarke, right? I'm like, why would you give her such a shuttle off like introduction? That's a weird thing to do for Emilia freaking Clarke, right? Because the introductions to Beckett, the introductions to his crew, the introduction to freaking Chewbacca was much better. That was the only thing that was kind of off-putting for me. Like, that's a cool way to do that. And I think, but after that, for me, I was fine. Like, okay, are you gonna do it?
Yeah, here we
Yeah.
go. So there's a picture. This is the
Ah,
Millennium Falcon that we know and love. One of the
yeah.
greatest ships in pop culture, one of the greatest vehicles in pop
Mhm.
culture. And you notice this little cutout. You don't think anything of it at the time. This little cutout right here, and
Yeah.
like almost like the mouth of the ship. Now I'm going to
Mhm.
scroll down here, and you're going to see this ship right here where it says
Mhm.
hobby models on the website, and this one where it says bigbadtoystore.com. And you're thinking, wait a minute, what's this right there? This pissed off a lot of fans. They don't, as far as I know, they do not explain in the movie why all of a sudden this is gone in the
Mm.
rest of the trilogy. Also, the nose of the ship is kind of more
Oh,
elongated. It's a longer
yes, yeah,
looking
yeah.
ship. So,
Well,
um,
here I will say this. We don't necessarily see the final version. I don't. Well, we don't. I can't remember when. I don't think we see a final view of the Millennium Falcon at the end. We maybe see the back end, but not the front end, because like. Oh, spoiler alert, guys! We're gonna spoil the movie when we watch the movie, right? The Millennium Falcon gets messed up during the movie horribly.
yes,
It
yep,
does, and then things happen, and you can see from the top of my head that the lip of the ship is still there, but we get to a point in the movie where the ship is needs to be heavily repaired because it's been heavily damaged, and I feel like okay, they didn't put that part in where we see the full fixed Millennium Falcon.
yeah.
Maybe not, who knows? But yeah, that view was kind of off. But back onto the thing. How do you feel of Han getting his last name?
I kind of forgotten about it because I didn't rewatch it before we watched it. I haven't seen it in about a year by myself,
Mm,
not like this. But explain to the audience how Han
yeah.
got his last name. I
How,
honestly cannot remember this part of the movie. I
how the
know,
boy
bad
got his
Star Wars
last
nerd.
name?
No,
I guess all good. So basically, in order for Kira and Han to get out of this freaking yeah, I forgot the planet they lived in, they were from, but they were were they kidnapped, I guess, or they were working under some type of like the boss who works there.
I think
I forgot
so.
her
Yeah, they're
name,
working for like,
lady something, right? This
yeah,
crazy looking centipede looking alien alien form that you know tell that how has kids not has kids do dirty work and runs a gang, right? They run away from this from that gang after being chased. They go into basically a boarding like this like airplane or interstellar space traveling boarding section, right?
Yeah.
And in order for them to get past the gate, they offer I forget what's it called. I literally forgot what it's called, but the basically the fuel that will the fuel that will that is is made to basically fuel spaceships, right?
Yeah.
Or hyperdrives, basically, right? To fuel your hyperdrive, and they have a small section of it which costs like I think what 80,000 like credit or something like that, some a lot of money, right? They use this to bribe the person at the gate to let them in, right? They put it in. She goes, "Oh yeah, cool, go in," right? He goes through but Kira's character, the gate closes and people people grab Kira. She can't go. They have this whole spout like, no, I'm gonna come back to save you, all that stuff, right? So he does that. He does not know how to get the hell out of there. He sees this. He sees military enlistment of wanting to be a flyer, a fighter, a jet, yeah, I guess I could say jet fighter, right?
Yeah.
Jet fighter, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but
Yeah, he's basically the best. The best. I forgot. I'm
you want to
missing
be in,
words right.
and I was going to say Starfleet, but that's not it.
Pilot.
You
Yeah,
want
he
to be a
wanted to be
pilot.
the best. He wanted to be the best pilot, right? So he wants to basically join the Empire Starfleet, basically, right? So he goes there. He gives his name. Where are you from? I'm from here. I'm from whatever this planet is. What's your first name? Han. Okay. What's your last name? I don't have one. Okay. Then do you have a tribe? Do you have a place? I don't have any. Oh. Okay then. Solo. You're Solo then. So you're Han Solo. That's how I got his name.
I'd be curious because I do know um that Lucas, obviously Solo came out after
Yep. He's
Lucas to uh sold off to Disney, but
mm,
I'd be kind of curious as if there was any kind of input by Lucas, the creator, as they say,
I would hope so.
into the production of this movie. We
Maybe
have
from
now
day
met
one. Yeah.
also along the way. We have met L337. I will say this: that one of the things I do like about the um, the new Star Wars movies,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it's people go like, "Oh, it's kind of formulaic," um, is you have uh, in this new trilogy, you have BB-8. You have a new droid introduced, um, but C-3PO is still the main protocol droid. He's the main verbalizing droid. But
Mm-hmm.
when they had introduced Rogue One, they had the new droid. They have the new droid here in Solo, and the same thing in Mandalorian. They had a new kind of quote protocol droid, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I know that's not exactly what they are, but they have kind of that side quirky kind of droid. What do you think of that part? Because at this point, I mean, obviously we hadn't seen Mandalorian yet, but it was pretty um, formulaic with Solo coming out after Rogue One, where we were introduced to oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the droid now. Um,
L337? Or you're talking about what?
I'll have to look it up in Rogue One.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot his name too. Are you talking about that one or introduction to L337?
But both that there was they like almost kind of like it's like here's the formula for making a Star Wars movie. We
I
need
mean,
this
yeah. There.
K2SO, Alan
Oh yeah,
Tudyk's,
yeah, yeah,
that you had to have this
yeah.
robot, this smart
Yeah.
alecky little sidekick robot.
Yeah, Grant,
Um,
like, yeah, that's a staple pin of the franchise. I get it. That'd be like having a Pokemon. That'd be like having a Pokemon game without Pikachu. Like,
True,
that'd be
I'll
weird
give
if
you
you
that.
didn't. Like, right? So of course you have to have that smart aleck freaking. Granted, how I feel about L337, even though I enjoyed the character, I did feel like, I this feels like, what's your name? What's the director that watches over all of Star Wars. What's her name?
Oh, oh God, I Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen, I feel like, oh, I think that's her influence right there.
Gotta have a droid.
Okay. Well, not the droid part, but more so like her mannerisms. Oh, fight the power, fight the system. You
Oh, that
know,
little scene where he goes, droid.
droid freedom, like, and as
Yeah,
well as like,
yeah, there was
eh,
a
without saying it, I just say it like it's not to beat over the head, but like, okay, we found the feminist in the movie type
it's
of
a
thing.
robot.
It's a robot, but obviously we found the thing. Like, okay, we found not feminist, but like, well, yeah, feminist. In the same time, like we found uh the revolutionist character supposed to be supposed to adhere to the woke crowd,
Yeah,
basically. That, like, oh, we found that character. All right, cool, whatever. uh I was okay with it, like, whatever, cool. The character had some great parts in it, the movie, absolutely. It made sense too, though. I understand why they did it, because of what happened in the mining planet, right? That was cool. But yeah, how did you feel about the look of Star Wars, of Solo?
that's what I was just going back. Was I noticed
Yeah.
on the notes they were talking about the cinematography, and I really
Mm.
enjoyed what I liked about both Solo and Rogue One was they tried their damnedest to do practical effects and have
Yeah.
actual sets,
Yeah.
and it is very reminiscent of the old Star Wars, the original trilogy. Both Rogue One and Solo had the look and feel of this is a and it wasn't until later in life that I understood why I was right. Everyone bitched about the shiny nuance, the shiny newness of the prequel trilogy. It was pretty, it was nice, it was shiny, it was beautiful. And I go, well, yeah, if you watch the story and you read or you follow the story and you watch the movies, things were great. It was a galactic republic. It was democracy. It was everything was voted upon. It was this, it was that. It was Western culture. It was the United States. It was very much everything was a-okay. And then you have this evil empire, this evil emperor come in, and he wants to become a dictator. He wants to overthrow democracy. He wants to become the overlord, the empire, the emperor. And much like, well, let's use an example based on what we've seen. North Korea, very just kind of like push your thumb down on your people, keep it simple. All the money comes to the government. Who has all the cool toys? The Empire. They got the big huge ships and the Death Star. That's got to cost trillions of credits to create the Death Star. And so that's what I liked about the evolution after Revenge of the Sith. In what they
Mhm.
did with Rogue One, what they did with Solo was they made the Empire. They made the galaxy very dirty, very grungy, very run down, very worn out, old.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you see pictures of downtown, um, whatever the capital of North Korea is. It's sorry for any of our fans who are Korean. It looks like a shithole. You don't want to live there because the government has all the money and he has built these great palaces, but the people have no money. Same thing with this. You have all these planets that have no money. They have to scrape by. They like I'm looking at this computer in the all these computers in the detention center. It looks like
Oh,
crap.
oh no. Oh no. How dare you make a Trump reference? All these people from these shithole
No,
countries.
no, but this was years before. I mean,
Wow.
we got to see
Yeah.
the original trilogy, and granted, the movies were made in the 1970s and 1980s. This was
Mm.
high tech for computers. So what they did was they adapted to change. How am I going to explain in 2001 or 1999 for that matter why all these computers look like shit in 1977? Oh, we'll just make it be that exactly what happened. The emperor took over, and like most things, when you have a galactic empire, when you have an empire like that, when you have what's the word I'm looking for? Well, basically communism. You who has all the money, the government, and that's what it is. It's always been. But going back to your question, the cinematography, the groundedness of um, the sets, the design, the look, the feel. Like I'm looking at this scene right now. They're breaking out of the jail. You've got Chewie and Han working together, and it looks
Mhm.
very much like the base at Hoth minus the snow, and it's just filmed down and gritty, dirty, and stuff like that. So I really like that. I like the story it kind of told, and I think it's kind of overlooked um, with uh, with the storytelling that hey, they needed to explain why the technology of 1999, 2002, 2005 that were portrayed in episodes 1, 2, and 3, where did it go between that and the movies that were filmed in 1977, 1981, and 1984? How did we get to those technologies? So that's what happens when you go backward storytelling. That's why like I said, with Alden, I didn't like him, but how do you create a 20-something-year-old Han Solo when Han Solo in the first movies is being portrayed as a 30-something-year-old? How do you go backwards acting? You can't de-age Harrison Ford. It would be terrible.
Mhm.
We've seen how that works too with movies like The Irishman, where they try to de-age Robert De Niro and Al Pacino and the other guy, Joe Pesci. Just sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But um, yeah, so you
Yeah,
have to kind of
yes.
storytell it a little bit. So, but
Eh,
yeah,
eh,
look at this movie. I will say that's a great point by you, Jr. Is one of the things I
what?
forgotten about why I liked about this movie is just the way it was shot, cinematography, set design, and
Mm,
costumes too. By the way,
yeah, yeah. I was
now
gonna go
we
back.
are again at one of the where they're still breaking out of the jail.
Hmm.
Um, so
Bringing a gel. Oh, the and with L337's character, which, uh, I think to this point, like, okay, so here's my point of like just having, of I'm hoping this is Ron Howard's touch on it, right? Where we were displayed, we were shown this character thinking that it's gonna be these one-off things again, where we have a character have a certain trait about themselves. Oh, rise, fight against resistance. We're more than this. We're we're all, robot rights, all that stuff, right? I'm
yeah,
like, is this gonna lead anywhere? That's always my thought, right? Is this gonna lead anywhere? Right?
exactly.
Are you just saying it just to say it, or will this have any tangible benefit to the story, to the film? And this is where I was definitely all right, cool. I'm okay with this now, because it played dividends to what happens in that. What was the? Do you know what the planet was called or no?
The jail planet,
Well, it's technically a mining planet, but yeah,
mining
sure.
planet. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I just had it here in front of me in my notes.
yeah.
Where did
I
it
should I should
go?
have wrote down, but yeah.
I should have too as well.
But yeah,
Gosh,
uh,
but yeah, why you?
yeah. So basically, when Emilia Clarke's character and L337, Kira, of course, Kira and L337, get they go into the planet because they sell their slaves, aka Han and Chewbacca, to this
Oh,
company to get.
Kessel. Duh.
Kessel, yeah, Kessel. Okay, to get the thing they're trying to steal from them. They are then shipped into this, I guess, the central room, where it has a lot of robots, a lot of machinery, which Kevin was talking about. That's old, right? Old 1970s machinery, and a lot of the robots are seen as slaves, or are just
Yeah,
are seen as that. The everyone gets taken care of. The baddie get taken care of, and they try to, and Kira is then trying to help focus. Where Han and Chewbacca need to go to get their loot, basically, right? And so L337, she takes one of the droids, from its restraints, and says, and they talk in robot speak, like, oh, what should I do now? And L37 L337 in character says, I don't know, go start a revolution, go free your brothers and sisters from the shackles, right? In character,
yeah,
right? And then they begin to basically have an uprising in the jail, in the film, and have basically a civil unrest, and take over the place. That makes sense. This is what I feel like this is Ron Howard's doing, right? Because when you this and when you put bits and pieces of characters within the movie and they lead nowhere, that's throwaway lines basically all of Ray's lines now or Finn's lines now in episode 1 or
Yeah.
in episode 6, A New Hope, because those weren't being followed in the prior after that. They led nowhere. That's what I think about. Like, oh, okay, this freaking throwaway lines again, right? Revolution, all this stuff, whatever, blah blah blah. No, it happens. Literally, it's a tangible effect of what happened later in the film. She wanted she wanted equal rights or rights for robots. She said do an uprising, do all this stuff, go free your brothers and sisters from the shackles. What they do, they start a freaking riot there, and that helps all of them get the stuff they need, go back to their ship and leave. That makes tangible sense to the story, to the plot, and not just some throwaway line to have some brownie points with people. That I'm okay with. That I'm okay with. That is then that what I then appreciated the movie even more when they did that.
Um.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we're getting to. I can't remember. Did it come after or when they break out of here, or was it before? I think it's
Mm.
afterwards. Is the
What?
famed Kessel Run?
Oh yeah, it's after they break. It's
It's after they
when they
break
meet
out.
the cruiser. Yeah, when they meet the cruiser in the void or whatever the nebula thing. Yeah.
I'm
The,
looking at now that I think about it. I'm looking at a picture
mm-hmm.
of Harrison Ford in his famous pose, and I think
the
it's
what he's
where he's holding on the Millennium Falcon. He's kind of shooting. It's very similar to
mhm.
the picture behind you,
Yeah, yeah.
but I'll show you real quick here.
And don't get me wrong, like
This
it,
picture right here. Here you go,
yeah,
right
yeah,
there. Of
yeah. It feels very much. Oh yeah, and the dice, of course, the Han Solo's dice,
yeah,
which he gives to Kira at the beginning of the movie after they separate. After they get separated and all that stuff is for good luck, and that's like, oh, I remember that moment. I remember that moment, all that
yeah.
stuff. And so, don't get me wrong, like they're doing their best to imitate, you know, our childhood,
Yeah,
and if it's not to the and if it's they're always fighting against, if it's not to our standards, which our standards are probably higher than what actually happened, honestly, because childhood biases, and those type of biases happen. Like they're gonna it's ultimately doomed to fail. I get that, I understand that, and so just trying to see this movie now for what it is, which honestly is an honest representation of who Han was before the plots of the original trilogy. And granted, here's the thing, what I feel like why people didn't like, him being cast as Han Solo, or even when they did watch the movie, he didn't how people view him not being represented as Han Solo. This guy right here in this prequel isn't the Han Solo that we all know and love.
no,
He's the guy that becomes that guy. That's the
yeah,
thing, and I think that people tend to forget is like, no, this is the prequel. Han Solo is supposed to be, kind of wet behind the ears, kind of really not know what he's doing. In this film, they try to really progress, if Han was really this, this smuggler, the smuggler that's been on this case for a very, very long time. And in this case, they showed it. No, not really. No, he's kind of fresh. They retcon the hell out of it. Don't get me wrong, but in this regard, they're doing what they can with what they have, because they're fighting against two giants and our childhood, basically.
well,
So,
there's our first look, at least in these films, at an Imperial destroyer,
mm,
and there is a new look at a TIE fighter. And I did look this up. I got to say, I love StarWars.com, by the way.
mm,
Kind of become like an unofficial partner in this little series that we're doing. The
mm,
new TIE fighter. People, I was talking to someone about this, that the new TIE fighter seems a little wider and has the cannons on the right or on the left hand side of the cockpit. Now you do
mm,
see the standard TIE fighters that are the standard gray ones that we would see obviously in A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. But this new one is called the TIE Brute, and this has I think it's a photon cannon. Let's see. The TIE RB Heavy Starfighter, nicknamed the TIE Brute, boasts heavier armor and firepower than the standard TIE. The pivoting twin laser cannons arrayed on an outrigger, the MGX 300 integrated droid intelligence assist pilot with operations. So I didn't know that, and I'm trying to look on this picture that's on here, that Imperial fighters had droids. Now, obviously, for those who
Really?
remember, I didn't think so. I know
Dude,
that.
all of the fighters have droids, not just
Well,
the TIE fighters, but every single
but the
thing
TIE
have
fighter,
droids.
do you ever see the droids like you do on the X-Wing or the
Yeah.
Y-Wing?
Well, they never really show. I do know that they showed Darth Vader's one, of course.
Vader's TIE
I
bomber
think
has
I
a
think that it was. I don't know. I don't know if
I'll
it's
have to
either.
watch it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Well, they never really show. I don't know if it was in the uh the older movies or maybe it was. But I do remember the fact that like that's the reason why they had R2D2s, where like they would basically be your navigational system and try to help steer the ship better. If the pilot if the pilot gets knocked out, basically, it's your second that's supposed to be it's your second person.
But I mean, so prominent in all the movies with the quote good guys. We saw the Naboo fighter, the yellow fighter, had the droid assist, the little pops it up. We
Mm,
did see in the new modified X-wing that Poe Dameron uses in the sequel trilogy.
mm,
It has not only a spot for an R2 unit, but also a BB unit,
mm.
with BB-8 being the
Yeah,
co-pilot on the X-wing. I just never noticed that, so it's interesting.
yeah.
So little nerd out there on the data bank for the TIE Brute, which is kind of a cool ship. And if, for those of you, again, we'll do for those of you watching the YouTube version here, I'll do another screen share. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about right here. That's the TIE Brute. Those are your
yeah.
standard
More expanded.
1977 issued TIE fighters with the standard gray, and there's the Imperial destroyer there in the background. This is the Kessel Run that
Hmm.
Han Solo was able to maneuver in 20 parsecs,
Under 20 parsecs.
under 20 parsecs. Um, I will say this though is um, the phrase a parsec is modified multiple times in Star Wars canon. It is used not only as a sort of looking for a measure of time, but I believe it is also at some point used as a measurement of distance. And I know that's been argued in a lot of videos. I know that I think even in the fabled Clerks animated series, there is a scene where they put George Lucas on trial and they lambaste him over little
What's the
stuff,
parsec?
little
Yeah,
what's a parsec.
yeah.
But I think there's multiple situations in the Star Wars canon that a parsec is used as not only a measurement of time, but it's also a measurement of distance. And I think it's kind of like everyone's like, potato, whatever. But in this
Yeah,
particular case, it's
yeah,
a measurement of time. So
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I guess it's just in that scenario. Just but overall, if we're already at that thing, I feel like if you're already at that part of the film, I feel like this is where the film becomes the best interpretation of or the best look of what a Star Wars movie should look like.
yeah,
Just having Han Solo and Chewbacca and Chewie at the helm of Millennium Falcon, just doing their run, going through through basically untrekked space and going through this crazy freaking vast asteroid field slash nebula field slash things that are out there that they don't freaking know type of stuff, which was pretty cool to try to see. And it was interesting where they introduced like some semi-scientific notions with Lovecraftian monsters within the film. I enjoyed that part. Like, all right, cool. Like what is beyond Trek space at that
Yeah,
point,
they're
right?
at that part now.
Yeah,
They're introducing the Maw.
the Maw,
Uh,
right? Well, the Maw is for yeah, that's right, the Maw. But like overall too, like I also did like the fact that this is the only time, right? We have seen we have seen Han basically be Han, right? Like, okay, he's the best pilot, the best pilot in the galaxy, but he has yet to pilot a ship, right?
yeah,
Actually pilot a ship. And when we first see him, he's to me like, oh shit, this is Han. This is Han. Like his acting is but then Han, he's a fighter. He's a pilot, dude. Cool. This is Han to me. Like, granted, people want to say no, Harrison Ford is Han. Homie, you get people to do, to make some witty remarks, to do certain things right, and to have that shit that Millennium Falcon just basically haul ass, dude. It's just gonna remind me of Han Solo. I don't care who plays him, but that he makes a witty remark to his Wookiee on the side who's doing this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it, and that was cool with me. I enjoyed that part. And then find the little Craftian monster, right? That was crazy. That was crazy. Like, all right, cool, well, because again, we see that something that was said in the film translate early in the film translate later on. They said that when they was asked like what's beyond the map, then like I don't know, maybe something that breathes there, maybe something that lives there, and then they find this freaking huge ass thing.
of course, they're getting sucked into a black. Was it like a black hole or something like that?
Yeah, it's supposed to be black hole, but they also call it a gravity well. I'm like, it's supposed to be black hole. If
It's
it
a
was
black
an
hole.
actual black hole, they would have been dead a long time ago. But
Yeah.
they would have been dead a long time ago. So okay, cool. They're trying to they're so they don't necessarily say black hole. They say gravity well, because if it was a literal black hole, they would have never escaped it. Because
Yeah.
that's basically them saying that Millennium Falcon now is incredibly much faster than the speed of light.
Well, they're going about to see little infusion, little extra juice here into the hyperdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this is a example of never taste your own product. I guess this is
Mm-hmm.
the product that they're supposed to be stealing, and
Mm-hmm.
they're now going to inject it into the hyperdrive um, to avoid this quote unquote black hole, the maelstrom or something like that is what they're
The
calling it.
maelstrom. There you go. The maelstrom. Yeah. And
So,
yeah.
and like I said, this is a part where it's Han Solo being Han Solo. He's trying to
Yeah.
line up for it, wait
Yeah.
for it, wait for it, and like now he of course I don't know if he gets to say the famous line here or not. Um, oh, they
Punch
just
it.
say now. I was waiting for him
Yeah.
to say "punch it, Chewie,"
Mm-mm,
but
mm-mm. No.
um,
Can't say that.
side note, real quick. I
Yeah.
know, and of course, the engine fails. That was like
Systems.
me this past weekend with my Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, real quick, I know your sister more so probably than you is a Disney fiend.
Mm-hmm.
She's a huge Disneyland fanatic, and we'll give her a little shout out. Was it Hangry Comics, Hangry
Yeah.
Collector on
Mm-hmm.
social media?
Mm-hmm.
Posts a lot of Disney and comic book stuff. I know she's
Mm-hmm.
been jonesing to go back to Disneyland, but of course it's still closed amidst the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. But prior to the pandemic, did you get a chance to go to Galaxy's Edge?
No.
You still have not been. So,
Yeah.
needless to say, you have not been on the Smuggler's Run.
No.
Okay. This, I've heard everyone talks about the best ride, probably pound for pound, the best ride that the Disneyland parks, the Disney parks have right now is the Dark Order. What was it called? Dadgummit. Now I can't think of what it's called. It's the brand new ride that actually had only been out for a month before they closed the park. But we'll get to that in a second. But Smuggler's Run, for those of you who don't know, first off, Galaxy's Edge is the new themed land in Disneyland. It's the Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
land. It takes a space. It takes a kind of a almost like. I just forgot the name of the place where we meet Han Solo the first time with Luke
Oh,
Skywalker.
Tatooine.
Tatooine. Vespa. Is it Vespin? The whatever the main town is there on Tatooine.
Mm.
Anyways, where it's like a little smuggler's town, like
Yeah.
a launch bay, so to speak. Galaxy's Edge is kind of the same thing. It's a launch bay, so to speak. And at the time of launch, when you walk into Galaxy's Edge, no, I have not been yet either, but I've seen a lot of behind the scenes. When you walk into Galaxy's Edge, into the main kind of entryway, you see a full scale version of the Millennium Falcon, and it's a sight to be seen, from what I understand. And that is the part of the queue to ride the ride Smuggler's Run. And where it is a 3-person adventure, 3-person ride, a co-pilot, a pilot, and a gunner, and you take part in a different scenario where you are the pilot of the Millennium Falcon and you fight off bad guys or whatever. And it's supposed to be a hell of an adventure. And it just kind of reminded me right there where they were kind of fighting the maelstrom of what it would be like to fight in the Smuggler's Run. So if you have a chance whenever Disneyland reopens and you can get into the Galaxy's Edge, I highly recommend, based solely on some friends' recommendation, the Smuggler's Run. And apparently you can, if you catch it just right, you can go, in and out, in and out, in and out real quick. It's one of those rides though that you will never see the same ride twice. You'll always have a new adventure every time you go on. And you can also rotate what position you're in. You could be pilot, co-pilot, or the gunner. So kind of cool. So yeah, just kind of a side note. I wanted to ask you, and I don't know if I got to ask at the beginning of our viewing, what did you think of Woody Harrelson's character?
I was gonna actually after that, I was gonna talk about it. I liked it. I enjoyed his. It was very much like he had to be the. When I first saw him, I thought like, all right, cool. We see the interpretation of who possibly Han got his references from, right?
Yeah.
Because when we first introduced to Han, he was wet behind the ears, like no, like nothing, right? He couldn't really handle a blast or anything like that. And then when we met Woody Harrelson's character, cool. This, old school gunslinging, cowboy or yeah, outlaw of the West. Like, yeah, he was flicking it. He was like, just having these crazy moves of blasting on itself. Yeah, I enjoyed Woody Harrelson's character actually. It felt very much like like that, I guess, mentor role. Yeah, definitely that mentor role for Han. Cool. That's another thing. That's another thing with every trilogy or every movie, you need to have a mentor role somewhere in there, right? So that was another mainstay that they needed for Han, basically. And as well, to get a start, how do you become a smuggler? How was he given this name? There you go. Cool. A good way to put it. Woody Harrelson as that role, I actually enjoyed because, yeah, like I would definitely believe Woody Harrelson is definitely could be like a freaking space pirate or a space cowboy at that point, or a space outlaw. Absolutely.
And I think that with Woody Harrelson, growing up as a child of the 80s and the 90s, I see Woody Harrelson, I think of two things. I think of his character of Woody from Cheers. Great role for him. Kind of a dim-witted bartender. And here we are greeted by, I just had in my notes this character. Such a badass looking character too.
Oh, you talk about Envy?
I think so. The
Yeah,
one with the big blade.
Big blade.
I think isn't that what they have a staff or something like that.
Yeah, she has a staff. Yeah, the tribe chief. Yeah.
I remember seeing this for the first time and going, whoa, like this character. Tell me more about this. I want more of this. Such a cool character. Was it Electra Ripper? Oh, that's the actual staff. I'm talking about the character. Dadgummit, StarWars.com, you suck.
You're great one time, but you suck the rest. Okay.
And yeah, it's in Infus Nest. And when I saw this character and saw the interaction for the first time, let's just say I did not see that coming when the mask is taken off. So the mask is coming off right now, and it is revealed that it's a woman.
Yes, a little girl.
It's a little girl, and a woman of color. got a little like a little touch of like half. It's
I don't
kind
know.
of, I don't know. It just to me it kind of looks you know who she
It's
kind of
because
reminds me
they're
of?
who?
Kind of reminds me of Maya Rudolph. With the freckles.
I guess the freckles, but that is I guess that's the only for me the only comparable parts of my Rudolph.
I don't
But
know.
like
I guess maybe it's in this role. Now
uh
that I look at her out of
yeah,
makeup, out of character,
she yeah she looks more Gaelic than anything else. She
yes,
looks
she
she looks
does.
more she looks
Um,
more yeah Irish than she does
God,
than she
great,
does.
great job with
Hmm,
um. I don't know. It to me it just the initial when they took them out. I actually thought it was Maya Rudolph at first.
really.
Just because like the way it was shot and stuff. Like now that I look at it again, I look at her IMDb page. Erin Kellyman,
Hmm.
great job on the makeup artist and stuff like that. But yeah, it looked like. I apologize. I retract my statement. I it very much looked like um, however that's what I was gonna say. It's been a
My
long
Rudolph.
day. It looked like
That's
my
all good.
Rudolph.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fine.
but I gotta say, one of the things that I liked about this show, and oh look, Peter Warwick. I did not see that coming. The guy who plays, I think that's his name. The guy who plays Wicket in The Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
Or I'm sorry, Warwick Davis. I apologize, and he
Mark
plays
Davis.
Weasel here.
Oh yeah.
He plays an Ewok. Warwick
Yeah,
also plays Willow.
yeah.
Which, by the way, I believe they are finally going to do a sequel to that movie.
Well, oh,
Oh, they're doing,
oh,
it's going to be a TV show on
mm,
Disney Plus, I believe. But which is again when he took his mask off, I was like, oh, cool! It's an Ewok. So I thought that was
mm,
kind of neat to have him back. And of course, my wife, when she saw it, she was like, oh, it's Phileas Fitwick from Harry Potter. I'm like, no,
yeah,
no, no.
uh,
He's from Return of the Jedi. He's a
yeah,
lot older than that. So, um, yeah, it was wicked. I was trying to remember. I remember the character. It was my brother's favorite
yeah,
Ewok.
yeah. And like this, I think this is part where the film too. Like, if I know what part you're at now, where they meet the tribe, right? And oh,
Yes, sir.
we were actually the good guys the whole time, type of thing, right?
Yeah,
The semi subversion type of thing. This is as you get to the point where this is pretty formulaic at that point, right? Where it's a Star Wars movie now, or basically kind of just like the movies that have been coming out the last couple of years now. Where like, oh, the bad guys are actually good guys, and the guys you're working for are actually the bad guys type of thing, right? Where granted, I kind of knew that was coming to be. It looked very much like that, right? Because it's a Disney movie. I get
yeah.
it. It's a Disney movie, and it felt very fun. Like I even got caught up myself. Like, why is this person, if it's a good person, why are you so open to wanting to you know to work with? Oh no, not that. Like, why would Han, or why would basically what's the name why would Beckett want to work with them after they killed his crew, right?
Yeah,
What or was the cause of his crew to die, right? And my thought in my mind, like, oh wait, no, we're only looking that way because me as a viewer is on their side because I see that side more often than I do their side, right? Because up to that point, their side is actually the good side, while I'm on the side of robbers, stealers, thieves, possible murderers, and because that's the side I view right now, that we view as a viewer, that we see as a viewer. And so actually, yeah, that was a pretty decent subversion in my essence, because like, why would they want to work with them? But oh wait, no, they're actually the good guys.
I just saw the. I forgot about this part. So
So
we see Woody's character, Woody Harrelson's character,
mm-hmm.
um, basically pull a Han Solo, and bail on the crew here, and uh, Beckett tells Han, "Hey, I'm out of here." And Han asks, Where you headed?" He goes, "I'm heading to Tatooine. What's on Tatooine?" And he goes, "Big time gangster put together a crew for a big score."
Mm-hmm.
And um,
That's it.
and I'm like, I forgot about that again. I'm thinking again, this is only the second time I've seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
and the subtle little things that they drop in there that.
Yeah.
And what I like about that, going back and seeing that now, is yeah, it's in there for you to go, I know where he's going, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also it's setting up. It's setting up. Yeah, where is he going? Why was Jabba looking for Han in A New Hope? Why did he send Greedo out looking for him? Why did they have to send um, uh, 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 um, Boba Fett out looking
Mm-hmm.
for him? Um, and so we find this out. I liked it because I said it does set up what does Han Solo do for the next couple of years or whatever. Now,
Mm-hmm.
again, this is something we can get into with, and I know I can't remember if they actually tell it in this movie or if they even mention it in any of the latter movies.
Right.
Do they ever say what exactly Han Solo was doing for the Hutts?
No.
So they never address what the big event is, because I mean
Mm-mm.
this is a massive. I mean this would be like an independent contractor taking out a job with the one of the five families in New York and running off with the money. And that's what
I yeah. I do feel like, because I think they were this movie was supposed to have a sequel, right?
I
I
think you're
do
right.
I do feel like that was supposed to be said, because because they still had to figure out the roles with Amelia Clark. I'm just not spoiled the whole movie already, right? We just go through this already, and then we're hitting that 2 hour mark. So
Yeah,
so
we're all, and the movie's almost getting to the end, anyways. I mean, it's
yeah, so basically Beckett leaves, right? But then Beckett actually betrays them, because uh the reason why Beckett leaves is because Han and Kira have this idea, like, oh no, we're gonna just give our treasure that we got to the good guys, right? To Enfi's Nest. And because they are part of the rebellion that's going to start. Oh, remember that?
yep,
And so that's gonna happen. And so what they're gonna do is basically go to what's his face's name? What's his name again?
the bad guy,
The bad guy.
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss, to Voss's character, and like, oh yeah, here's all the stuff. I'm just getting my stuff and just gonna leave, right? Uh, no, they got backstabbed. They got double crossed, because Vecna comes back and say, no, no, I should, I double crossed you, kid. I told you. He says sometime early in the movie, right? You should never trust anyone. You should never trust anyone, because this after a scene where they have a make out set where where Han has a make out session with Kira,
Hmm.
and yeah, which I enjoy that chemistry. I really did. I enjoy
I
their chemistry.
I did as well.
Well, granted, chemistry with Emilia Clarke. Anyone, she's such a very likable character, very likable, not very lovable actress. So of course, gonna be is chemistry is always gonna be great. But yeah, basically going back to the point, Beck says to Han, like, I told you, kid, you should never trust anybody. I'm in it for myself. Oh wait, subversion. This is actually a whole plan, because Han, like, I knew they were gonna do that anyway. You
And
told me not
there
to
it
trust,
is.
so here
There's
we
the
go.
reveal.
And then actually the real stuff, right? If the guys that that you sent to go kill the rebellion people, they know they're coming. They know you guys are coming, so they killed all of them. And then, oh, this is all you got. This is all your security, boss. Oh, that's so sad. All right, this should be all your security. And then you have Beckett there, like, oh, cool, okay, then let me just shoot everybody in the room, all the people that have guns in the room, and just take it for myself. That fits Boss. That fits his character. That fits Beckett's character very much. So he has nothing to lose at that point, right? He lost his original team. He lost, I guess, his only love interest, and he's not really. He's only in for the money. So that's Han's introduction to everything there. And then there's this big fight scene. Well, not really a big fight scene, but it's a fight scene, decent fight scene where it's Kira versus Voss, and Kira inevitably wins. And so that was cool. And they have a moment again. Han and her have a moment, like, oh, you can always leave this stuff here, but no, she has her own. She has her own thoughts, her own motivations. She actually was doing this whole thing to take over Voss's spot, because the awesome reveal of, take it away.
The awesome reveal at the end of the movie, which we haven't got to yet, but we'll kind of spoil it, is, of course, it was kind of revealed in Rebels, I believe it was, is Darth Maul has been alive this whole time. Mechanical legs and all. Darth Maul reveals himself to be kind of the backbone, or the kind of the behind the scenes of Kira.
Yeah.
And the, what are they called? The Crimson.
The Crimson something.
I just had it.
Crimson Raiders?
No, it was Crimson Revolution, the Red Room. No. It's like, why are they gonna everything be like remind me of Black Widow not being in movies yet? But no, I love that because it was funny was when I saw
Crimson Dawn.
When I saw this movie, they had already talked about Mandalorian being in production, and what was the Mandalorian going to be about. And I had heard the name Mandalorian before, just didn't know what it was, and I started reading up about it from the extended universe, and they talk about that the Mandalorian are a group of bounty hunters, I guess you'd say, so to speak, mercenaries. But there's kind of like a code to their, there's like a goodness to their attitude and stuff like that. And that one of the, at some point in the extended universe canon, Darth Maul acquired, again, spoiler alert, because this is going to have to do with any of the upcoming seasons of The Mandalorian, is whoever is in possession of the Nightblade is the leader of Mandalore. And I believe in the extended universe, maybe even in, I don't know, you could address this. Was it Rebels or was it Clone Wars that Darth Maul comes back? I think it was Rebels.
Rebels, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Does he have the Dark Blade in Rebels or no?
I can't recall, dude. I remember he gets in it. I just forgot which one though. It's been a minute since I saw that.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll get to that eventually. But again, at some point, and I think it was more so in the books, that Darth Maul was the head of the Mandalorian, because he acquired the Dark Blade, the Nightblade, whatever you're going to call it. That we see Epicito, whatever his name is, the actress. I can't think of the guy's name. From Mandalorian, Moff Gideon, Giancarlo Esposito's character. We see at the end of season 1 has the Nightblade.
Yeah.
But no, when I saw Darth Maul make his debut, I was like, "Oh, this is getting good. We're gonna see him." And it should be noted now that in the last couple of weeks, George Lucas has said that his original plan for the sequel trilogy, when he kiboshed it after the poor review of the prequel trilogies, when he decided, nope, I'm never doing anything for you fans ever again. Screw you guys, I'm going home. He has come out and said that the lead villain in the sequel trilogy was to be Darth Maul in his form. So we'll never know, or maybe we will know, was the sequel trilogy going to involve the Mandalorian? Could that have been a part of it? So I guess we'll never know. But I will say this was probably one of the better fight scenes here at the end, between Paul Bettany, Alden, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the only fight scenes, honestly. And one, as much as I got love for Han, he was never really a heavy,
sort of
rough and tough fighter.
He was a shooter.
He was a shooter, absolutely. And so when you show this other side of Kira being a master sword, not swordsmith, but sword wielder. Yeah. Where'd it go? So yeah.
I liked everything about her character in this, and I loved, because it took me out. I mean, it was a necessity. I know that she is a natural brunette, but I'm glad that they didn't mess with her hair too much. I know it's like, why are you talking about this? Because they needed to she needed to remove herself from being Daenerys,
Daenerys Targaryen.
and they did a great job with her.
Yeah. Like the I guess um the only legitimate subversion from this film that I had was basically, even though I kind of knew it was gonna happen, but like the way it went about, like, okay, she now has the reins of this position now, right? Because
Yeah.
ultimately, you know, she's been in this life. We don't really know what horrible things she has done personally, even though it's been mentioned throughout the film, or it's been hinted at throughout the film. And because uh the one thing that kept me intrigued in this film, like, all right, cool, we have this love story, this possible budding love story before the actual, the one story with Han and with Han and oh my god, I forgot her name. How did I forget her freaking name?
Kira?
No, not
Or no,
Kira.
Princess Leia?
Princess Leia. Yeah. One second. Excuse me. I dropped my thing. I love having this thing where I just drop my mic and turn it back on. But yeah. And then that's what thing caught me into, like, okay, there's this budding love story. How does Han was seen as this smooth talking, kind of ladies man type of guy. How does he deal with his first love?
Here is the big reveal. This was
Yeah. How does he deal with his first love type of thing? And so we see that, and it was I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Cool. They were away for 3 freaking years, and then she did some horrible stuff. He has been in a war, and we see the culmination of it now. So I thought it was pretty cool. Their relationship. I thought it was intriguing. Her character. She didn't really have character growth, but the role that she played throughout the film was very still much in her own interest type of thing.
What was your
So
reaction
to
when
what?
the hologram came up? Did you know who it was when the hologram came up?
Yeah. You know why I knew?
Why is that?
You freaking spoiled me.
Oh, my bad. But
So here's the thing, guys. When I said that, like, this was years ago when you first watched the movie anyway, right? And then you came to the store and said, "Oh, guys, this was so cool thing," right? I go like, "What happened in the movie?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you." I'm like, "Dude, I'm never gonna watch the freaking movie. Just tell me." And that happened. Like, oh, okay, cool. So I saw that. I'm like, cool. And like, I was more excited when I first saw him during the animated film, or
yeah,
the
when he makes
initial
his
animated film. Yeah. The animated series. Yeah, of course. So both times actually, because you see him pre Sith, and then you see him after.
now, I was going
Yeah.
to say this, and I question this.
Mhm.
Oh no, I take that back. I take that back. No, I don't, because I had a chance to talk with Ray Park, who is Darth Maul,
Mhm.
and in the original and the prequel trilogies, I think he has one line.
Yeah.
I think he only has one speaking role, and they allowed Ray Park to do the line.
Mhm.
In this one, they gave him some actual dialogue.
Yeah.
It's not much; it's a few lines, but they gave him
Yeah.
some actual dialogue. And I asked Ray Park. I said, "Hey, I saw the movie, and I told him, like, hey, I thought you were great." And he goes, "What was it like doing the movie?" He goes, "Well, it was great right up to the point where they didn't let me talk." And I go, "That's not you talking?" He goes, "No, they cast somebody else to do the voice." And I was like, "Well, that's a bummer." He goes, "Yeah, it's a workaround. They can still pay me a stunt person's salary and not have to give me the insurance and
Actor
stuff like
credit.
that, the actor
Yeah.
credit, whatever." But he does get the credit on IMDb. I almost forgot that he was. I thought for certain. I thought he actually wasn't in the movie, but then I forgot. I'm like, no, what it was he plays the character but does not do the voice of the character. So it's kind of a workaround or something like that. While we wrap things up here,
What was your question though? You said you had a question for me.
you kind of answered that to say, what did you think of the reveal when he takes the hood off? Because at that point, other than reading the closed captioning, you don't know it's Darth Maul until he takes the hood off, and that's where I
Yeah.
geeked out. So
Mhm.
I didn't know who he was in the hologram when I first saw
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I do have a separate question for you,
Yeah.
as we're nearing the end of this movie,
Mhm.
and we got about 10 minutes left of this, but the movie's pretty much over.
Yes, great. Yeah.
I got a couple of prizes here. How are we gonna? What do we want to do? I got 4 prizes
Uh-huh.
here, thanks to our good friends at Comic Asylum, who very graciously donated these. I'm thinking, give a little shout out there.
Mhm.
I'm thinking we gotta do. I'm thinking we do what one? Do we want to do a set? Or do we want to give? Because I have 4 books here. Do we want to give them
Mhm.
away each individually? Do we want to give them away as a set? What are you thinking?
I gotta see I gotta see it first.
Well, let's do that. We are going to give
Mhm.
these away as a prize. I
Mhm.
have right here Wonder Woman number 51, and
Okay.
it's a cover. It is cover A, but it is done by the wonderful art germ Stanley Lau. Right there, take a look at it in all its glory. It's probably one of his better covers, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Still, my all-time favorite is the Black Panther one he did of
Sure.
of Shuri. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
my absolute favorite one. I
Yeah.
want to get that Virgin variant somewhere.
Mm.
Another one of our favorite artists. I know that JR, you are a huge Art Germ fanatic. You were the one that
Mhm.
introduced me to Art Germ. But the person that I am a huge fan of, and my wife even said, "Wow, you're going to give away one of these books." So I already have one. It's signed. Actually, they're like, "Oh, maybe I don't have this one signed." Anyways,
Interesting flex.
what's up?
Interesting flex.
This is
Yeah.
this is a Wonder Woman number 750. I believe this was from, maybe I do have this on. I think this was from
Campbell.
March of. This is the Campbell cover right here. J.
Oh yeah,
Scott
yeah,
Campbell, the
yeah.
Diana Prince
Mhm.
Wonder Woman 1960s cover.
You don't have that
Uh,
sign. You don't have that sign. That came out recently. You don't
was
have
it
that one
this
signed.
year or was it last year?
This year.
Was it this year? Okay, then I don't have that one signed, not yet.
Mhm.
Um, but I've got 2 of each. So do we
Hmm.
do a set or do we do 4 separate giveaways? I'm thinking we do 4 separate. And I'm definitely thinking one of them has got to be if we get to YouTube to 100 subscribers, we raffle off one of the books.
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Good idea.
What do you think about the? So do we do it as a pair, or do we do 4 separate little wonderful giveaways?
You know what? Let's do it as a pair. Yeah,
Do
let's
it as
do
a
it as a pair. Let's
pair.
do some. Yeah, let's do this pair.
All right.
Let's do that.
So
You guys, yeah, just definitely try to keep us 100 subscribers on the YouTube channel. 100 subscribers. As well as how about this? 100 subscribers YouTube channel,
yes, yep.
and we are currently at. Let me see. I'm trying to find check our Twitter right now. Check the Twitter page.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what. If
Yeah.
we can get, I like where you're going, bro.
Yeah.
So we do social media.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get to social, we can get
Yeah.
social up to 100.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do the
Social.
other pair.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to our friends here at Comic Asylum. And, I get asked all the time, JR, how people, especially in the pandemic, can support local businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a friend, her name is Erin. She is she's also known in the industry as the beer goddess. She's a huge fan of craft beers, right?
Yeah.
And someone posted about how you can support some of these breweries that are closed down because of the pandemic. And they
Mm-hmm.
said, go buy a gift card from them. And then when they reopen, go spend your gift card, whatever. So I rewind, I take kind of the same idea
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, how can you support local businesses like Comic Asylum and of course Desert Oasis and Interstellar?
Yeah.
Yes, they also sell Comic Asylum does sell gift cards.
Yes, you do.
If you're thinking about you got a comic book fan in your life and you don't know what to get because guys like me and JR, we're finicky. Okay. We only like someone goes and goes, oh hey, I got you Superman #1. Oh dude, you got Superman, and it's it's the freaking Brian Michael Bendis #1.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking for. So get us a gift card. But at the same
Yeah.
time, if you are a comic book fan, you want to support local store, go start a pull list.
Mhm.
show some love. That is what stuff like that is what keeps businesses like Comics Island in.
Very, very, very true, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Just start a pool. Yeah. Always buy local, guys. Support local, guys. Support local. Those are the local. Will owe you the ones that will impact your community intricately, guys. And two, yeah, buy gift cards for the nerds in your life because hey, Christmas is right around the corner anyway. Christmas right around the corner, or
Agreed.
Black Friday too. And so yeah, and to kind of circle back on to the ending of this film here, we find out that that after Kira leaves and then amazing looking freaking yacht slash spaceship, um, yeah, we have the leader of that little, yes, that little resistance give give uh give Han a little piece of the engine fuel or whatever it's called. Give it to him, the little piece as like a token appreciation. Here, ask him to join. Like, nah, it's not really for me. They go back and meet. They find Lando Calrissian that inevitably left them in the dust,
Yeah,
and they fight and they basically they play for the Millennium Falcon, and there you have it, guys. They get the Millennium Falcon. That he wins, of course. Han wins that bet, and he gets Millennium Falcon.
doesn't he cheat too?
Whoa, Lando Calrissian, yeah, Lando
They
Calrissian, he
both cheat,
cheated.
I guess.
Han, no, he
this
played
is
fair.
this is one of my favorite bits to do on this podcast because you can see just a little shadowy figure there above JR's hat. Every once in a while he'll move and you'll see his Funko collection. And I know it just kills him inside when I do stuff like this. Just got these hot off the press from Amazon to celebrate Mandalorian season. We have the child eating a frog right there to go with my collection. And then, of course, I tell you one thing. This right here equals ratings because every time I do one of these, we get our numbers go up. So
They go because they want to see me pissed off at you. That's basically it.
this is a picture. This is almost like a picture of JR when his CGCs come in. I want some more. I want some more. You get the little cup for the CGCs.
I'm just gonna drop kick you the next time I see you.
I will say this. Highly, I'm geeked, man. I cannot wait for my next CGC to come in. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 129, first appearance of the Punisher, and we will make sure to do a little flex pull here on this when it does come in. But we're expecting that to come in probably sometime into this month, maybe early next month. I will say we will have a special unboxing. I'm hoping to have it ready for next week's episode. It has nothing to do with Star Wars, but it is kind of geeky, and you are going to like it. It's an early Christmas present to me, to myself. I've got something that should be here by Thursday. Knock on wood. Again, we will be able to do a unboxing right here. Well, it may be a re-unboxing because I think my kids will probably get to it before I do. But so I will have something that will make its debut here on next week's show, which, by the way, will be Rogue One. So, JR, we are now through 4 movies. Let's do a little running tally based solely on the prequel trilogies and Solo. What is your favorite film so far?
Solo.
I would say the same thing. Matter of fact, I don't even want to go in there. I would have to say Solo. I'll probably redo my list. I know a lot of people have Revenge of the Sith way up there, almost
close
to the original trilogy. But I kind of want to do that like as we go along of where our idea on the movies vary and change. So, anyways, hey, real quick, just want to give one more plug out there for those of you who want to know where to get more comic books just like the ones we have. You can go to Comic Asylum 44829 San Pablo Avenue in Palm Desert, California, or you can call 760-636-6711. Ask for Chick. And I will say this too, speaking of CGCs, if you are looking for someone to help you out make that big next step into your investment of your comic books, and you don't know how to do it, please, please, please go check out Comic Asylum. Talk to Chick and set up a meeting with Jabel. He is a man of the people. He will help you out, and he will not steer you wrong. He's a good guy, and he has helped many a collector out get on the right path to collecting. So again, just to kind of tie into our little comic book side. So other than that, I don't have much else to say. Jr. Any closing notes on this movie?
Not necessarily, man. Just overall, yeah, just my thoughts on the movie. I came into it thinking like I'm gonna freaking hate the movie because I have my biases, just be enamored because it's definitely gonna be this freaking dumbass movie. And I was pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. And it does help to kind of keep an open mind, particularly when one, you have the right people behind it. One, you can't go wrong with Ron Howard. Well, when he tries to steer some type of ship right, you can't go wrong with just actors and actresses who want to play the role properly. Granted, and you see this with Donald Glover, where granted, I would love to see more Donald Glover. It did feel like I saw way more of Danny D. Anything else? I saw more of D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams, yeah.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams. And then I saw more of the imitation rather than the interpretation.
Yeah, I will say this, that and he does do a good job at impersonating.
He does a great job.
He does. He's doing Billy D. Williams doing Lando Calrissian instead of Donald Glover doing Lando Calrissian. And
because tell you straight up, man, as much as I got love for Billy D, acting wise, Donald Glover is on top of the world right now. Easily. And I would love to see his interpretation of Lando Calrissian. Granted, we're gonna have a lot of purists out there saying, no, I want to see Billy D. I want to see D. Williams, right? I want to see him, and that is it. I want to see Harrison Ford, and that is it. And and like, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm right there with you, man. But we live in such a split world now, where it's either you're against us or you're with us or not, and on both sides, right? And so it feels like Ron Howard and the guys who made, and the great people who made, Solo, Rogue One, who've made Mandalorian, people who are full-on nerds of the franchise, want to do right by it. And I think that is what should be said. The crap that's gone down with the original, with the sequel trilogies right now is a topic that we will get to. Definitely.
Yeah. So we will bring you Rogue One next week, and then obviously Thanksgiving is, I believe, a week from Thursday. We are already there. I believe we are going to attempt to put a couple of extra podcasts in the can for you guys to bring out that will be separate from Star Wars. That we're going to do some like holiday shopping.
Yeah. And then thankfully too, because Black Friday now is not the Friday after Thanksgiving anymore, guys. Black Friday starts early for us now because of the rise of COVID and the rise of online shopping. So a lot of stores, a lot of online shops have started the Black Fridays way early. So I'm already digging deals. And you were talking about, my friend, your little neat gift that comes on Wednesday. I want to talk about my gift that comes in tomorrow.
Oh, you want to save it for next week, or
no? You won't be able to see it next week because I'll be using it already. I'm gonna have another monitor, my friend.
Dang.
And I'm gonna have another monitor, a 4K. I was so heartbroken that I couldn't get a PS5 that I just used all that money to get a 4K monitor. So
yeah, there is a monitor. I think once I get this setup that I have going a little bit more permanent, I want to add an iMac in here, and then get a secondary monitor and get a swivel chair. And I think, for those who don't know, I mean, right here behind me, it looks like I'm swimming into space. It's actually a green screen. I mean, so there you go. I want to get something this pushed back a little bit to give me a little bit more space. So ever changing. ever-changing landscape. So yeah, JR and I are doing this for you guys. So yeah, looking forward to that. Got some cool stuff coming this week. Again, we will get you that kind of the shopping hacks for you, bonus episodes. And I really, again, I appreciate everybody for supporting the show. Again, if
Absolutely.
you want to show your support by sharing our stories on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PS Comics I Love You on Instagram and Facebook. PS Comics I Love the letter U
Letter U
on Instagram.
Twitter.
I'm sorry, on Twitter.
Twitter.
If we get to 100, once we get to 100 followers on all three platforms, boom, baby, these two bad boys are yours for absolutely nothing. And just because everything comes better in pairs, we have another set right here for you of Wonder Woman. It's the Stanley Lau, Art Germ, and JSC, J. Scott Campbell package for you. Thanks to our friends
How
at
about
Comics
this?
Asylum.
How about this?
We got JR to go sweeten the pot.
Since we're doing 3, right? Since we're doing 3, I'll put up one. I'll put up a set myself.
Ooh.
So we'll do a set for Instagram, a set for Twitter, and a set for our YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So there you go, guys. I'll put up my set, and I will reveal this set sometime this week.
Sweet. At also not JR Comics on Instagram, and of course at PS Comics I Love You on Instagram for our channel. We'll have some all kinds of cool stuff coming
It'll
up.
be on Twitter, guys. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on our socials anyway, on the major socials. So don't worry about it.
But again, one of these sets right here will be for you guys. If you go to our YouTube channel, if you're watching this video, again, subscribe to the channel, ring the little bell for notifications, leave us a like and a comment below. I don't care if it's negative or positive. We appreciate all the feedback you give us. If you want some more direct contact, PS Comics I Love You at gmail.com. And other than that, guys, we will see you once again in a galaxy far, far away next week. Episode number 26, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. What happened leading up to A New Hope? We will find out next week. Again, at Voice of Reason 23, the man's.
I am the Dark King. Also, Jared. I was gonna say also known as Jared Cabacungan, but that's actually my real name. Jared Cabacungan. You can find me at also not JR42 on Instagram, guys. And I'm starting to actually post more. So
yes,
there's that again. We're starting to post more on the Twitter, guys, too. So thank you very much for just joining in and joining us every single week, man. Tune in to just listen to our voices and look at our faces and seeing my sleep deprived eyes, man. Thankfully, you guys don't see that correctly yet, but yeah, guys. Thank you very much, guys, and we will see you and catch you guys next week. Peace.